Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha, Naruto, You Were Born as a Devil. Chapter 61. However, in fact, Naruto has never been afraid of anyone else. The reason why he showed up at this time when the flow of customers was the largest was naturally because he had enough reasons. Hunger was one thing. On the other hand, when Naruto was about to get some food, he happened to find a figure entering the Ichiraku ramen shop. Uchiha, Shisui. Naruto went to Ichiraku Ramen. Uchiha Shisui is also here, what should I do? In the dark, the Konoha ninjas who protected Naruto at this time had become Gekko Hayate and Azuki Yugao. It was no problem for the two girls from the Hyuga family to visit during the day. Because of resolving the crisis of the Kumogakure envoy, Naruto has become a noble of the Hyuga clan. The people of Hyuga would never do anything bad to Naruto. But the current situation is completely different. Uchiha Shisui, who had secretly followed Naruto before, was sent back to the battlefield by a transfer order from the Hokage. After eating this bowl of ramen, he will go to the border. But at this time, Naruto also passed by. He dared not do anything in public. Moonlight Gale thought for a while and said, "That's right." Shi Yan nodded slightly, but was still very worried. No matter how powerful a ninja is, he can't resist a backstab. Naruto is indeed very strong enough to kill a dozen Kumogakure ninjas. But he didn't know that Uchiha Shisui was hiding a murderous intention. If Shisui attacked instantly, he would definitely not be able to guard against it. Just when Shi Yan was worried, Shi and Gale saw that Uchiha Shisui, who had just entered Ichiraku Ramen for less than 2 minutes, suddenly lifted the curtain and left. What the hell? No way. He crossed his arms and looked distressed. Well, since the customer just left for something, I'll give you this bowl of ramen for free. He immediately pushed the ramen in front of Naruto and showed a hearty smile. Thank you, uncle. Naruto sat in his seat and responded with a cautious and shy expression. That Uchiha guy doesn't seem to like you very much. After sealing the iron gate, the Nine Tails watched the whole scene. The reason was that Naruto found Shisui, and then entered Ichiraku Ramen. After seeing Naruto, the other party thought for less than 3 seconds and decided to give up the hot ramen and leave. You want to contact him. But he doesn't intend to pay attention to you. Hehe, you're not going to pay attention to him. The Nine Tails laughed. This is not the first time Naruto has contacted Shisui. When they were in the grove, Shisui also left at the speed of light. The Nine Tails could guess what Naruto was planning. In fact, Naruto did intend to save Uchiha by contacting Shisui. After all, Shisui is the owner of the Mangekyo Sharingan. He is also one of the top fighters of the Uchiha clan. Koto Amatsukami is an absolute killer. If you want to change the tragedy of Uchiha, contacting Shunshin Shisui is absolutely no problem. It is common sense not to put all your eggs in one basket. Naruto picked up the chopsticks and murmured in his heart. He hit a wall twice, proving that he was indeed not destined to be with Uchiha Shisui. But saving Uchiha has never been just one plan. If Uchiha Shisui doesn't work, take other routes. For example, by contacting Seiko, and then contacting her brother Uchiha Itachi. This is what I am doing at the same time. If I can convince Itachi not to wield a knife against my fellow tribesmen, it can also be regarded as a plan to save Uchiha. Of course, if this road doesn't work, then give up Uchiha Shisui, give up Itachi, and rely on my own efforts to save Uchiha. Thinking of the lovely Seiko, the beautiful Aunt Makoto, them. Naruto made up his mind to turn the tide. Half an hour later, Naruto was on the way home. After a whole day of Yongtun training, his body became stronger. As the reincarnation of Ashura Chakra, after finding the right path, his training progress was rapid. As long as I continue to practice, I can continue to become stronger. Thinking about the future, Naruto soon returned to the vicinity of his residence. At the door of his house, the dim street lights cast a warm light. Under the street lights, a familiar figure stood there. Uzumaki, Naruto. When Seiko saw Naruto coming back, she turned around and greeted him in a very serious tone. Her little face was tense, as if she was going to announce something big. Naruto stood still, ready to listen to her opinion. From now on, I can't play with you, Seiko said. Then she turned around, moved her legs, and strode away from here. The next morning, the Uchiha clan's residence. A visitor came to Sako's house. "Hello, is Itachi home?" The curious girl caught Uchiha Fugaku's eye. At first, Fugaku didn't recognize the other person, but soon recalled a scene in his memory. It's Yi Yu's daughter. Uchiha Yi Yu, who married out, lost her husband during the Nine-Tail Rebellion. She returned to the Uchiha clan residence with her daughter. The little girl back then has now become a graceful young lady. What a beautiful child. Itachi, Fugaku called his son. Itachi's slow footsteps sounded in the corridor under the eaves. Looking at his son talking to Yi Yu's daughter, Fugaku couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The son who only knew how to practice, has a lover too. The corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly, and then turned around and walked back to the living room. Different from the youthful atmosphere outside, the lazy little daughter Seiko was walking out of her room with a listless pace. Quote. Looking at his daughter who didn't look good, Fugaku couldn't help but frown. Until Seiko lazily washed and put on her coat, this made Fugaku, as a father, finally unable to bear it. "You are so slow, how can you be so shameless?" The low scolding made Makoto, who came with breakfast, stunned. She quickly put down her things and pulled her daughter aside to talk in a whisper. "Seiko, how could you make your father angry?" Makoto squatted down, with a slightly accusatory tone. "Mom." Seiko's eyes were a little disappointed. Just when she was about to explain, she saw the girl of the same clan who came into the house with her brother. "She is." Seiko remembered that when the Kumogakure delegation came to visit, this sister of the same clan stood with her brother. "Is she her brother's girlfriend?" "Hello, Auntie." Uchiha Izumi greeted Makoto in a proper manner. Then, she looked at Seiko again. "Hello, I am Uchiha Izumi." "I am Seiko, hello." Seiko, who recovered from the anger in a second, hurriedly returned the greeting. Compared to the last time, the other person had something extra on him. It was a ninja forehead protector. This proved that she had become a formal ninja. During breakfast, Seiko looked at Uchiha Izumi curiously. This person might be of the same clan as her brother's girlfriend. Maybe, she will become her sister-in-law in the future. After the meal, in order to prepare for the next, third test, the elder brother went to practice alone. With nothing to do, Izumi planned to improve her relationship with her lover's sister. So, the two girls left the house together and went to the outside world. Shopping is always a practical topic for girls. Under the endless clear sky, the two came to the bustling commercial street. Linliang's full of goods and the largest customer flow made this the most lively place. "Seiko, I heard Itachi say, you often help Aunt Makoto carry things, is that right?" "Well, of course, I always try my best to reduce my mother's burden." The two chatted as they walked. Uchiha Izumi's incredibly gentle temperament quickly won Sako's recognition. Seiko thought, if the eldest sister-in-law has a look, it must be the look of Sister Izumi. At this moment, there seemed to be a large crowd in front, and something seemed to have happened. In this most prosperous and lively area, it would be abnormal if nothing happened every day. "It's him again. What happened to him this time? It seems he was helping an old lady cross the street." "Huh, really? I thought demons would only cause trouble." The discussion among people came to an abrupt halt, as if there were some words that could not be spoken. "What's the matter?" Quickly, Izumi and Sensako's curiosity was aroused, so they began to look inside. Soon, they learned the whole story. The old lady was walking fine, and you went over to help her cross the street. I thought the old lady stopped there to get help." "The old lady was just tired and stopped to rest." "According to your logic, all those who stopped in place wanted to cross the street." Although the person in question had been pretending to be calm. But the sweat on his forehead and the way he looked around still exposed his inner anxiety. "I remember that child was." Izumi began to recall. The boy standing in the middle of the crowd who was accused had a head of golden hair, which gave people a silly first impression. The matter was simple. An old lady who stopped to rest for a while was forced to cross the road, which caused the villagers to accuse her. It really seems like something that only this guy can do." Seiko sighed helplessly. Uzumaki Naruto, this idiot is not only stupid in appearance, but he also often does stupid things. But helping the elderly to cross the road proves that his nature is not bad. But the next second, Seiko remembered her brother's instructions, and her expression immediately changed. Sister Kwan, let's go quickly, this kind of thing is not worth paying attention to. But, okay. Uchiha Kwan also wanted to participate in it to calm everyone down. Seeing Sako's insistence, she could only leave together in hesitation. However, as soon as Seiko took a step, she felt a faint gaze on her. Has Uzumaki Naruto discovered me? Seiko thought so, and she immediately quickened her pace with a guilty conscience. 20 minutes later, Sister Kwan, do you feel someone is following us? Seiko said unhappily to Uchiha Kwan beside her. No, Kwan looked around and laughed. That guy. Seiko stopped. Not far behind her, a yellow-haired guy also stopped and pretended to look at the scenery. He pretended to look around, but he was always secretly looking at us. When we met his eyes, he pretended not to see our eyes, and he followed us wherever we went. When we stopped to buy things, he also pretended to buy things. Kwan's eyes fell on the two patrolling Uchiha Police Department ninjas. The two tribesmen noticed Kwan's gaze, turned their heads and nodded slightly. Kwan also nodded in return. In broad daylight, any petty theft could not escape the eyes of the police officers who were in groups of 2 on the main streets of Konoha. In other words, if there was any malicious intent, the boy would have been arrested long ago. Maybe it's because you're so cute, Seiko. Izumi smiled, with a somewhat flattering tone. It sounded like she didn't support Sako's trouble with the boy. Seiko, who was very upset, had to listen to her brother's advice on the one hand, but she was uneasy on the other hand. Under this conflicting conflict, Seiko could only vent her unhappiness on Naruto. This way, Seiko smiled coldly and pointed to a shop on the side of the road. Izumi's breathing slowed down a little, and she immediately understood Sako's idea. So, the two girls walked quickly into the women's underwear shop next to them. And Naruto, who followed behind, stopped pretending to look at the scenery. Soon, Naruto put his hands in his pockets and entered the shop as if no one was around. A few seconds later, the sharp screams of the ladies broke out in the shop. Naruto's intrusion proved the feasibility of Sako's plan. Look, he is following us. Seiko pointed at Naruto, who was in a mess because of the things thrown by the ladies. One by one, the women's underwear became the last straw that broke the camel's back. Naruto fell in the mess, looking at a loss. Kwan was sweating profusely, and suddenly he didn't know how to get up. Naruto, who was besieged by the ladies, slowly got up from the ground, and then was criticized. Why are you here, you pervert? I'm here to go shopping, and I came in to see if there are any suitable products. Naruto took off his things and threw them aside. That pretended calm look was indeed a bit funny. This is a women's clothing store. The angry shop owner shouted. You are a boy. Can't male customers come in to buy things? Naruto frowned. You are being prettiest and how dare you assume the gender of Uzumaki Naruto. However, this sharp rebuttal weapon that is adapted to a certain cultural group of countries is ineffective in the Naruto world. Stop saying nonsense that people can't understand. Naruto was once again drowned by the projectiles, and finally he was thrown out and fell on the street. A corner of the edge of Konoha. Candidates from various countries who pass the second round will participate in the third round of the Chunin exam in 2 days. In the house where the Kurigakure ninja stayed, everyone was already impatient. Juzang, when are we going to act? According to Juzang's instructions, they disguised themselves as salty candidates and, barely, passed the first and second rounds of selection. In order to be more realistic, several companions were eliminated. If the situation continues like this, I'm afraid they will have no chance to act after the Chunin exam is over. It's almost time. Sitting in the corner, Loquat Juzang was calm and composed. This rebel ninja, whose affiliation is unknown now, is a target to be eliminated in everyone's eyes. Once this mission is completed, his beheading sword will change hands. Wait until the third game is over, then we will act. Juzo said the specific time of the action. This made everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Seize the confidential documents. Taking advantage of the large number of foreign tourists coming to visit the third exam, and relying on the fog created by the mist hidden art that the Kurigakure ninjas are good at, it can be easily completed. After getting the documents, escape from Konoha and hand them over to the Kurigakure code team waiting for the handover. Then gather everyone's strength and kill Juzo. Hum. Juzo, humming, embraced the beheading sword broken blade, and seemed not to notice the hidden malice in everyone's eyes. For him, the struggles of his former colleagues in the village were trivial. The key is how to kidnap Uchiha Fugaku's daughter. Fortunately, White Zetsu had done a good job of investigation in advance. I just need to follow its instructions when the time comes. At noon, Uchiha Izumi said goodbye to Seiko. Seiko was in a bad mood and worried that she would continue to be scolded by her father, so she did not choose to go home. The source of her depressed mood was the conflict between her brother's instructions and the agreement she made. From childhood to adulthood, she had accepted her brother's kindness. Mother said that on the night of the Kyuubi rebellion, it was her brother who protected her. He is babbling and learning language, and his elder brother is also raising and taking care of him. Even all the skills of ninja were taught by his brother. I regard my brother as the most important person, and I will never disobey him. But, what's going on with this annoyance in my heart? Squeak. The swing in the park swings. Seiko sat on it, feeling free. There was no one in the small park today. Probably the group of peers had agreed to go to another place to play. So, you guy. Seiko turned around and stared at another tourist in the small park. Naruto was struggling with the horizontal bar. However, his occasional furtive glances were still noticed by Zuozi. I've already said it. I won't play with you again. Zuozi got off the swing, clenched his little fists, and said loudly. Oh, good afternoon. What a coincidence, I met you here. Naruto spread his hands and shrugged. Seiko then remembered that she had never told Uzumaki Naruto her name. Yeah, this guy never knew my name. Seiko remembered calling Uzumaki Naruto at least dozens of times. But the other party knows nothing about him. Isn't this unfair? Zuozi thought of this, but his brother's instructions were like a cursed seal, directly covering Zuozi's thinking. Uzumaki Naruto, are you annoying? You took the initiative to talk to me, so your words are incomprehensible. Naruto argued calmly. Well, stop rambling. That's not the problem. Zuozi felt like he was trapped in a strange circle. Naruto, that's the problem. Zuozi. There was a brief silence. Go away. Stop following me. Zuozi was so annoyed that she had no choice but to let him crawl. Naruto scratched his head and narrowed his eyes. Is Konoha owned by your family? I, Naruto Uzumaki, can go wherever I want. Ah, I'm so angry. Zuozi found that he had never been so angry in his entire life. Okay, haha. Zuozi, who was extremely angry and laughed, was about to use his real skills. Since you insist on saying that. Aha, Seiko jumped up and jumped directly onto the wall at the edge of the small park. That is a wall that no ordinary adult can overcome. With the qualities of a ninja, Zuozi successfully held it. The next moment, Naruto jumped up and jumped up. Then, Seiko jumped to a higher branch. At this time, she was already 6 or 7 meters above the ground. For children, this is a very dangerous height. Naruto was not afraid at all and jumped up as well. The two chased each other and began a dangerous parkour sport on the edge of Konoha. Time passes. From noon to afternoon, the two of them parkoured until dusk. During this period, we passed through various large trees and building shapes of different heights. Considering the physical strength of a child, the energy of both of them is quite astonishing. Even Seiko was surprised that he had surpassed his limit and reached impossible heights. What surprised her even more was the yellow man behind her. He has been following closely. Sure enough, the idiot's muscles are developed. In this case, Zuozi took it out of his pocket and was about to use the killer weapon. The Uchiha clan's ninja throwing techniques are second to none in the ninja world. The use of ninja tools is not limited to attacking others. In the eyes of others, various methods that look like dazzling skills are also a reflection of Uchiha's strength. Wow, the river surges. Drink. Seiko threw a shuriken across the river. The wire dragged behind the shuriken. The flying shuriken quickly crossed the tree trunk and then wrapped around it several times. Seiko grabbed the end of the wire and jumped up. Relying on this wonderful technique, she successfully leapt to places that were impossible to reach with normal actions. Goodbye, Luo Luo Luo. Seiko, who was rippling across the river, turned around and taunted Naruto. You can get rid of this guy now. Seiko felt relieved, but when she saw Naruto's visibly anxious face, an inexplicable melancholy arose in her heart. The truth is finally revealed. However, what Naruto did next was even more unexpected than she expected, and even made Sako's breath freeze. Naruto, who was like a landlubber sighing when seeing a river, suddenly jumped up. He actually planned to rely on the power of the human body to jump directly to the other side, which could only be reached with the help of ninja tools. Hey, wait, no way. Zuo Z's mood went through multiple changes including disbelief, surprise, how could it be possible? As if adding special effects, Uzumaki Naruto actually flew and jumped more than 10 meters. Is this a movie? Zuo Z's whole body felt bad. Isn't it too fake? With the help of the power of the nine tails, Naruto directly crushed a pile of pebbles by the river. The whole person was thrown in the direction of Seiko like a rocket. Then, Seiko reached the other side. Naruto stepped back a little and stood on the tree trunk. But the next moment, before the two could continue to interact, an accident happened. The tree trunk wrapped with steel wire, which was the one Naruto stepped on, was cut by the sharp steel wire, thus reducing the load-bearing capacity. Crack! As the tree broke, Naruto fell from a high place. Plop! There was a loud noise and dust flew. No way! The smoke and dust began to float, and Seiko looked at the figure lying motionless in the pit and couldn't help but panic. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto, are you okay? Cough cough cough. Seiko walked to the side of the big pit full of smoke and dust. Then Naruto stood up as if nothing had happened. I'm fine. He casually patted the dust off his body, as if he had just fallen casually. But the next second, blood began to flow out of Naruto's forehead, and then flowed down, staining his face. It's like this, and you still say it's okay. Sako's uneasiness and guilt expanded, and this emotion began to wrestle with her brother's exhortation. The army of emotions gradually overwhelmed reason. It seemed that the curse seal and the bondage of the oath were gradually being untied. Quote. Naruto looked around straight. He pretended to look at the scenery again, which made Seiko lose the energy to complain. Walking to sit on the wooden stake next to her, Seiko stared at the rushing river in front of her. This river is the dividing point between Konoha and the back mountain. Few people usually come here. The last time she came, she was hunting wild boars with her brother, taking advantage of that opportunity to hone the skills and team strategies of ninjas. It's getting late. Seiko looked up at the sunset. It's already this time. Aren't you going home? I'm investigating this area. Wild mushrooms are worth collecting for dinner. Naruto continued to talk nonsense. In Seiko's cognition, Naruto is a boy who is rejected by the villagers. The unknown reason may be considered annoying at first. But when a person gets to know Uzumaki Naruto in depth, he will find that things are not like that. In short, the discrimination of the villagers has absolutely nothing to do with him, and there are unknown reasons. The ambiguity of Sister Kwan and brother is as if they are guarding a secret that only people who are a little older and above know. That's it, Uzumaki Naruto is alone, without family, without friends. Hey, Uzumaki Naruto, what's the matter? It must be hard to live alone. Seiko's tone began to become gentle, and I'm afraid she herself didn't notice this subconscious change. Naruto was silent for a few seconds, then shook his head. It's okay, there's no pressure, you can do whatever you want. Sleep until you wake up naturally, and spend all your money on yourself. Seiko knew that this was just showing off. Don't you have any friends? No, but there is a tenant who occasionally pays the rent. Kyubi. Seiko thought Naruto was just talking nonsense. What about your girlfriend? People in the Naruto world generally fall in love early. Sako's problem is completely normal within her cognition. There is no such type of friend either. Naruto replied firmly. I understand. Sitting on the stump, Seiko began to swing her legs. The sun sets. She felt that today's sunset was beautiful. So, today you have passed the last test of being my friend. Yes, it's a test. Naruto. Oh, I understand. Hearing Naruto's answer, Seiko couldn't help but smile. She had forgotten her brother's instructions. From childhood to adulthood, this was also the first time she disobeyed her brother's wishes. Her heart told her that this was the right way to go. Because even a brother can make mistakes sometimes. Uzumaki Naruto is definitely not a bad guy. The unknown loneliness was filled with new emotions, and the warm feeling in her heart made Seiko forget the loneliness. 10 minutes later, Seiko had left, and the stars began to blink in the sky. Naruto still stayed where he was, sitting on the tree stump where Seiko had just sat, overlooking the sky. The starry sky in the ninja world is very beautiful, which is enough to replace any beautiful man-made landscape. The route to contact Uchiha Shisui failed. There was also resistance on Sako's side. For some reason, Seiko suddenly stopped contacting him. Fortunately, he overcame this difficulty and successfully made her recognize him. In this way, he can get on the line with Itachi. Of course, because of the previous experience, a backup plan needs to be prepared for simultaneous implementation. Yang escape practice. As long as you have relatively strong strength, you can also reverse the tragedy of Uchiha. The increase in Yang escape is related to the body. A stronger body means a stronger body as a container for the tailed beasts. It also means that more tailed beast chakra can be released, thus enhancing performance. The wound on the head has healed. Naruto touched his scabbed head. The practice of Yang escape not only strengthens the body, but also works with the nine-tailed chakra to repair the body more quickly. If you practice to the extreme in the future, you may even be able to gain self-healing power that surpasses Hashirama Senju. But that kind of thing is too far away, so don't consider it for now. Next, I can try to release the third tail. But before that, there are still two stalkers to hide from. One is Azuki Yugao. The other is probably her childhood sweetheart, Gekko Hayate. These 2 days, the two of them have always been in pairs, hiding in the dark, or pretending to be ordinary passers by following me. Because I have a good relationship with Azuki Yugao, the latter did not deliberately hide her whereabouts from me, which allowed me to notice their existence. But after all, Gekko Hayate is not Azuki Yugao. If I rashly release the third tail in front of him, he will definitely worry about the safety of his childhood sweetheart, and may even have a bad impression of me. These possibilities are all things that need to be considered. Let's stop here today. After thinking for a while, Naruto decided to go home directly to wash up, have a good sleep, and consider the third tail tomorrow. You want to change the situation of Uchiha. Quote, after so many things, Kyuubi more or less guessed Naruto's thoughts. Otherwise, he couldn't have pretended to be stupid and foolish to get the approval of a Uchiha brat. Whether it was Shisui, the instant body, or the daughter of Uchiha Fugaku. It was obvious that Uzumaki Naruto knew something. The difficulties of the Uchiha clan were historical problems left over since the village was founded. What exactly did Uzumaki Naruto want to do? Nine-tail. I've said it before, I, Uzumaki Naruto, am the man who will become the 7th Hokage. Whether it's the Hyuga clan or the Uchiha clan, we are all companions in the village, and we are all one family. Naruto's seemingly warm words concealed some great evil thoughts. From what he did to Hyuga Natsu, and his spying on Hyuga Yuzuki. Nine-tail knew that things would not be that simple. Nine-tail, I don't believe a word this kid says. Uchiha Seiko is still just a young human female. Just like the human cub named Hyuga Hinata. In other words, Uzumaki Naruto's target is actually the woman named Uchiha Makoto. This depends on Itachi's performance. Naruto thought. If Itachi is as hopeless as Uchiha Shisui, then Uchiha Izumi will also be included. The image of the Uchiha girl with peach blossom eyes, tear mole, and incredible gentleness flashed in Naruto's mind. The residents of the Uchiha clan. Why are you back so late? As soon as Itachi stepped into the house, he heard his father's roar. From childhood to adulthood, Itachi had never seen his father so angry. I came back late. Itachi thought his father was yelling at him at first. But he was working hard to prepare for the last round of the Chunin exam, and his father shouldn't be so angry. Seiko. Itachi felt something was wrong and immediately quickened his pace to enter the house. My sister was kneeling in the living room with her head down, and her mother beside her looked at her sister with a gentle reproachful look. And the father's rage with his arms around his chest was because his sister came back too late. The strict family rules of their own family. Itachi said that the good reputation spread far and wide, and even the Hokage often praised the family rules of the Fugaku family. My sister didn't come back until it was completely dark, which completely touched my father's insistence on the family rules. The scolded sister lowered her head and looked ashamed. But there was a kind of happiness and joy that could not be suppressed, which was revealed from her expression. Sorry, father, I won't dare to do it next time. The younger sister lowered her head even lower and apologized loudly. The sincere attitude slightly eased the furious father's expression. Father, mother, Seiko, I'm back. Itachi joined in at the right time and changed the atmosphere at home without a trace. This was naturally to protect his sister. Diverting his father's attention, the younger sister cast a grateful look. She carefully picked up the bowl and chopsticks, and then the family started dinner. Looking at the younger sister who kept eating with her head down, I always felt that she really showed an indescribable joy. Did something good happen? Itachi thought about it. He could only think of Quan. Maybe Quan and his sister went shopping too late. He muttered in his heart. This also shows that Quan and his sister get along well. Itachi was quite satisfied with this. Oh, I guess I can't go play with Uzumaki Naruto tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. After finishing the rice quickly, Seiko put down her bowl and chopsticks and carefully backed away. Wait 2 more days. Just 2 days. Then, I'll go directly to the Konoha venue with Uzumaki Naruto to watch the Chunin exam. In addition, it seems quite satisfying to be disobedient occasionally. Seiko thought. The rebellious heart began to burst out from Zuozi's heart, and her naughty child period also arrived. Quote. Itachi stared at his sister who was smiling at him, unable to read what his sister was thinking. He never expected that his sister would disobey his instructions and go play with Uzumaki Naruto. The cabbage I finally cultivated by myself is being corroded by the yellow hairs next door. That night, Azuki Shion reported what he saw today to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hiruzen Sarutobi, who learned of the contact between Seiko and Naruto, quickly made new arrangements. Uchiha Fugaku was sent back to the battlefield, and Sarutobi Hiruzen hoped to avoid possible crises. The Uchiha ninjas, who knew nothing about it, were delighted. Returning to the battlefield means that the Uchiha clan can flex their muscles in this border conflict with Kumogakure. He even made great contributions, thus completely changing the status of the Uchiha clan in Konoha. Konoha 2 days later, the residence of the Uchiha clan. Early in the morning, Zuozi got up and washed up. In the living room, he saw his mother making breakfast. Today is the 3rd Chunin examination. My brother is still resting and preparing for today's appearance. Mother. Seiko began to circle around her mother. Dad went to the battlefield again. So my father's seat, which was supposed to be watching the Chunin exams, was vacant. But I also bought the tickets, so I can't waste them. Why don't you give me Dad's ticket? Naturally, Seiko also has a ticket. But the other ticket was intended for Naruto. Ba Mikan was stunned for a moment. Her first reaction was that her daughter planned to give the ticket to Quan. Quan thinks so highly of Itachi that he must have already bought the ticket. So, are you planning to invite that kid Naruto to watch it together? Makoto immediately thought of her best friend's child. Seiko began to hesitate, but Makoto understood immediately. Take it. Makoto handed her husband's ticket to her daughter. Thank you, Mom. Zuozi carefully took the ticket and ran away with a glare. I won't eat breakfast. I'm afraid I won't be able to make it in time. Get along well with that kid. Makoto shouted while looking at her daughters running back. That child, Itachi, who had just gotten up, heard his mother's call as soon as he passed the corner of the corridor. Mom, where is Seiko? Maybe I went to a friend's house. Makoto, who has not yet realized the seriousness of the problem, does not know the agreement between the brother and sister. Itachi, come over and have breakfast. You have to eat more for today's assessment. No need. Itachi shook his head and quickly walked outside. Friend, my sister's friend, I hope I'm not overthinking it. Itachi, this child. Makoto looked back at the carefully prepared exam breakfast on the dining table and couldn't help but sigh. A small park in Konoha. Seiko put his hands in his trouser pockets and kept looking around. At some point, her eyes lit up. Uzumaki Naruto, You are so slow. I have been waiting here for a long time. Feel sorry. Naruto scratched his head. I got lost on the way to help my grandma today. Shi Yan in the dark. This sentence has such a strong sense of deja vu. Ah, I remembered it, it was Kakashi-senpai's catchphrase. In addition, Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Fugaku were both sent back to the battlefield, so the Uchiha clan should no longer take any unusually obvious actions. Shi Yan, someone is here again. Reminded by her childhood sweetheart Yu Guofeng, Xian saw Itachi approaching quickly from a distance. Soon, Itachi hid his figure and explored his sister's whereabouts. He is Uchiha Fugaku's eldest son, Uchiha Itachi, who is also the candidate for the third round today. Because Uchiha Itachi broke the time it took for Konoha to pass through the Forest of Death since the village was founded, almost most Konoha ninjas know his name. Moonlight Gale. What is he here for? Mao Xian. Probably, maybe I'm worried about my sister. Naruto used the excuse of helping the old lady to practice yang escape at home for the past 2 days. Moonlight Hayate and Uezuki Xian kept squatting repeatedly, but it was really difficult for them to reveal the third tale. But Moonlight Hayate is not from Anbu after all, so he can't keep it forever. After he leaves, he can easily take care of Mao Xian, and even conduct further development experiments on it. Look, I've got the tickets. Zuozi threw out 2 tickets and was very proud. Here, this one is for you. Naruto took the ticket from Seiko, and the two happily walked towards the Konoha venue. As soon as they stepped forward, they didn't notice Itachi lurking in the shadows. What's wrong with this kid? Moonlight Hayate saw a clear change in Itachi. Itachi clenched his fists and trembled all over, and his teeth chattered loudly. Extreme anger, sadness, and other emotions welled up from the bottom of my heart. Hot blood rushed to his head, making his ears ring. The sister he had raised since childhood, the obedient sister, went against his wishes and ignored his instructions. He actually came into contact with Uzumaki Naruto again. The smile on his sister's face just now was like a knife thrust into Itachi's heart. With the extreme excitement, Itachi's Sharingan opened involuntarily. The unspeakable sadness and anger turned into fierce waves. Uzumaki, Naruto. Finally, as Itachi murmured with multiple emotions, this huge emotion converged into a source of strength. In the scarlet eyes, black Magatama appeared in the left and right pupils respectively. The original 1 Magatama Sharingan evolved into a 2 Magatama. This, Yugao and Moonlight Hayate, who witnessed the evolution of Uchiha Sharingan with their own eyes, were even more shocked by this. Suddenly, Uchiha Itachi looked at them sharply. It was like discovering the existence of the two of them. Facing the Scarlet 2 Magatama Sharingan, for some reason, the two of them felt fear in their hearts. That face was so ferocious that it was almost crazy. It was really unimaginable that it could be an expression that a child could make. The next second, Itachi turned his head and quickly ran away from the scene. It wasn't until long after Itachi left that the two of them woke up from a dream and were liberated from this huge pressure. These Uchiha, just the second Magatama makes me feel like I am no longer his opponent. Cold sweat broke out on Moonlight Hayate's forehead. Although I don't want to admit it, there is no doubt that the ninjas of the Uchiha clan are worthy of the title of elite clan. The problem is, this has just started, evolving on the spot. Xian, who was also shocked beside him, was also sweating profusely. Hayate, did you see the expression on Uchiha Itachi's face just now? Obviously, that look was originally directed at Naruto. Uchiha Itachi has great hostility and dislike for Naruto. But I'm afraid this is not an attempt to take advantage of the 9 tails, it should just be like, the raised cabbage is covered with yellow hair. Anyway, let's follow immediately. The place where Naruto and Uchiha Seiko are going is the Konoha meeting place, and the Hokage will be there soon. In public, no matter what Uchiha Itachi thought, he would never dare to attack Naruto. At the same moment, Naruto's house. Naruto-kun. Looking at the empty houses, Hinata, holding the ticket in her hand, couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Hinata-sama, let's leave quickly, the third game will start soon. Hinata couldn't help but urge, and at the same time secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It's a good thing that Uzumaki Naruto is not at home. Otherwise, I don't know what to do when the time comes. Hinata, who came to invite Naruto to no avail, could only leave. Father and others will also be here today. As members of the pupil family, the secret comparison between Hinata and Uchiha never stops. Being able to watch the opponent's display of strength in an open and fair manner is an opportunity not to be missed. Only, Hinata. Where did Naruto-kun go? The Konoha venue was bustling with people. The circular auditorium was filled with spectators from various countries in the ninja world. Most of them were dignitaries and daimyo from various countries. Half of them are residents and ninjas inside Konoha, such as Hyuga Hazu and other Hyuga clan members, as well as Uchiha, Inakacho and others who stayed in Konoha. At the top, there is the top management of Konoha, who is the host of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. With Hiruzen Sarutobi's announcement, the third assessment officially began. Itachi, come on. On the audience stage, Izumi Uchiha, who also came, began to cheer Itachi hard. Naruto, who was sitting with Seiko, finally had a chance to look at Itachi's lover. The peach blossom-eyed Uchiha spring gives people an extremely pure feeling. The tear mole under the eye socket adds a touch of temptation. Her long black hair reaches her waist, which highlights her fair skin. No matter how you look at her, she is an extremely beautiful girl. It is also because during puberty, the body begins to develop and take shape. Her status as a ninja gave her a slender figure. Well, Zuozi, who couldn't help but cheer for his brother, quietly watched the game on the sidelines. Throughout it all, she maintained a rather mysterious air on Naruto's part. Zuozi made friends for the first time and didn't know how to get along with them. She was cautious, not wanting Naruto to be dissuaded because of her identity. The daughter of Uchiha Fugaku. This title sounded very glorious, but it was not what she wanted. The so-called friends should be pure and pure friendship without any impurities. That's what Seiko thinks now. I abstain. Itachi's opponent, the genin of this village, immediately gave up the qualification because he saw Itachi's strength in the second round. A soldier who subdues others without fighting. Itachi turned around and left without any hesitation. This little guy is not worth wasting a word on. The arena was silent for a moment, and then there was a louder cry. Snort. In the dark corridor of the venue. Danzo stopped to watch the ceremony. Hiding in the shadows and being guarded by his subordinates gave him a sense of security. Obviously, Itachi's strength was terrifying, that's why his opponent gave up in such a panic. I have thought many times, if only Itachi wasn't a ninja from the Uchiha clan, then I wouldn't have to be embarrassed. The second generation purpose argument is absolutely correct. The Uchiha clan is an evil clan. They are the ones who will harm Konoha and must be eliminated. Soon, Itachi's second opponent appeared. Black skin, white hair. Obviously, the opponent is a ninja from Kumogakure. As strange as it sounds, there is currently a conflict on the border between Konoha and Kumogakure, with casualties occurring every day. At this time, Kumogakure shouldn't be taking part in the Chunin exams. But politics is very hypocritical. Even if they try to knock each other out of their wits, they will sometimes maintain harmony on the surface and show each other disgusting fake smiles. Not only did Kumogakure want to compete for success on the border, but they also wanted to compete for success in the Chunin exam, so they sent their ninjas to take the exam. At this time, everyone was looking forward to the confrontation between the two young men in the audience. This Kumogakure genin is known as Sleep of Spring, and is quite famous among the younger generation of Kumogakure. Danzo's subordinates promptly explained the identity of Itachi's opponent. Start. With the examiner's order, the competition ended. The moment the examiner spoke, Itachi quickly approached his opponent 5 meters away. With a kick at a dizzying speed, the opponent instantly flew out and hit the boundary wall of the arena hard. The stone wall was shattered and a pit appeared. The opponent passed out without saying a word. The shouts in the audience stopped, and everything became quiet. No one expected that the result would be like this. The opponent was instantly killed without even reacting, which meant Uchiha Itachi already had strength that surpassed that of the new Chunin. In other words, no one who has just become a Chunin-level ninja can be his opponent. This boy Itachi. Danzo squinted his eyes and observed the twin Magatama Sharingan shining in Itachi's eyes. It's actually 2 Magatama. My brother is so awesome. Seiko clenched her fists and gritted her teeth. She was so excited that she forced herself not to show anything unusual. Then, Seiko turned her head and glanced at Naruto. She found that Naruto seemed to be stunned. No wonder, who made her brother perform so well? The winner is Uchiha Itachi. The examiner reacted and announced the result immediately. His tone trembled slightly, because it was obvious that Uchiha Itachi's strength exceeded the performance that should be at this level. Possessing the 2 Magatama Sharingan proved that he could at least become a Jonin in the future. Soon, the whole audience burst into cheers, and it couldn't calm down for a long time. In 1 hour, the Chunin exam came to an end. Compared with Itachi's performance, the others were not worth mentioning. Every time he was killed in seconds, all the way to the first place. Obviously, Itachi will be promoted to Chunin, without any dispute, which is also a turning point in the life of an Uchiha ninja. Join the police department. How about it, Uzumaki Naruto? Today's game was exciting. Proud Seiko was proud of her brother. Yeah, Naruto nodded. Uchiha Itachi is indeed Kishimoto's own son. He is completely different from the others. The two walked in the crowd and walked out of the Konoha venue with everyone. I also want to be a ninja. When I reach the age, I will sign up for the ninja school. As Seiko walked, she talked about her future hopes. Okay, I will go to school in the future. Naruto nodded in agreement, saying that he would also sign up for the ninja school and become a glorious Konoha elementary school student. Yeah, you really should go to school. Seiko nodded and agreed. Stupid, you have to read more and increase your knowledge and cultural level. The dense crowd slowly moved out. Itachi was in the crowd and it was difficult to get close to his sister. He could only watch his sister and the yellow-haired man walk away. Itachi, Itachi. Behind him, Uchiha Izumi called out his lover's name. She was with Makoto. The two discussed and prepared to celebrate for Itachi. When Itachi finally squeezed through the crowd, Seiko had disappeared. At the same time, Hokage building. Juzo looked at the sun lazily. Judging from the inclination of the shadow, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. Everyone went to watch the Chunin exam. Even the Hokage left the building. The people who were in the way were gone, so it was naturally no problem to move. However, the confidential documents to be stolen are not actually inside the Hokage building. Because according to the investigation, the documents processed by the Hokage every day will be transported by a special person and sent to the row of buildings at the end of this street. Its name is Document Warehouse. Do it. As Juzo suddenly attacked. The broken blade in his arm stabbed the guards at the door. When the first guard was killed, his face was full of disbelief. Ha, ha, the broken blade absorbed blood and began to grow in his body. Visible to the naked eye, a longer blade emerged from his back. Another guard finally reacted, but his opponent was the 7 ninja swordsman. It was solved cleanly in just 1 round. Bathed in blood, Biwa Juzo stood on the spot with the beheading sword that had been gradually repaired. The 6 elite members of the mist hidden in the dark, as well as the helpers who were disguised as spectators, immediately moved. Mist hidden technique. The collective mist hidden technique immediately covered the area where the Hokage building was located. In an instant, it was pitch dark here. What's wrong? What happened? Chaos arose, and the sounds of fighting and screams continued. The mist-hidden ninjas who broke into the file warehouse immediately began to snatch the files. After a while, the mist-hidden ninjas carrying the scrolls fled. Nara Shikaku and others who hurried over looked at this scene with a solemn look. Contact the Anbu immediately, and call Morino Ibiki. Yes. After giving the order, Nara Shikaku stared at his opponent standing in the mist. When the figure holding the beheading sword appeared, Nara Shikaku finally recognized the famous ninja of the past. Loquat. Juzo. Without any hesitation, Nara Shikaku immediately made a seal. The shadow under his feet began to extend, and then connected with the shadow of Loquat Juzo. Got it. The companions on the side cheered. Haha, what a pity. My target is not you, otherwise I can really have fun with you today. The expression of Juzo made Nara Shikaku feel inexplicable. The next second, Juzo turned into a ball of water with a splash and scattered on the spot. Is it a water clone? According to common sense, the water clone can only be used nearby, and his real body must be nearby. Common sense is indeed true. But Loquat Juzo is not an ordinary mist ninja, he is a member of the 7 ninja swordsmen. Shikaku thought. A corner on the edge of Konoha. Juzo's real body, which had long been away from the file warehouse, did not leave with the other mist ninja. There is only one shadow clone in the team. Because he was also responsible for another secret mission, which was also the real purpose of this trip. Capture Uchiha Fugaku's daughter. Tell me, White Zetsu, where is that brat now? Juzo asked the guy with a white face in front of him. Hehe, she is now in the back mountain of Konoha, with a very powerful brat. White Zetsu answered Juzo's question with a smile. A very powerful brat, how powerful can it be? Take me there quickly. Juzo picked up the big knife and quickly followed the White Zetsu who was leading the way. The back mountain of Konoha. Seiko took out the item sealed in the seal scroll. Storage seal is a very simple sealing technique that can seal shuriken, kunai, even stones, water and other things into it. At this time, Seiko took out 2 bows and arrows and 2 quivers. She handed the bow and arrow to Naruto. Naruto took the bow and began to look at it. After watching her brother's performance in the Chunin exam, Seiko was excited and naturally wanted to show off her skills. As an elite Uchiha, it is normal for him to bring a trumpet. Uzumaki Naruto. Do you know how to use it? Seiko put on her bow and arrow and looked at Naruto. 2 months ago, she and her brother went hunting wild boars together. During that time, she not only mastered the use of bows and arrows, but also teamwork and survival in the wild. In her opinion, Naruto, who was pampered to a certain extent, was a flower in a greenhouse. Uzumaki Naruto could live safely in a place where people lived, but he was an expert in the wild. Quote. Naruto fiddled with the bow and arrow, and his extremely unprofessional appearance made Seiko sneer softly. Uzumaki Naruto, watch out. Seiko drew the bow and shot the arrow in one go. The arrow in her hand flew out and hit a tree in the distance with a thud. With the bonus of the Uchiha clan bloodline, Sako's archery skills can be called art, which is something that other clans can't learn at all. Next, you practice first. Seiko indicated that she would teach Naruto archery step by step. When it's almost done, she will take Naruto into the depths of the back mountain to hunt a wild boar. It just so happens that my brother won the first place in the 3 rounds of the Chunin exam. Then take it home as a gift. Next door to the Konoha Hokage building. Document warehouse. Nara Shikaku, standing next to the warehouse, watched the Anbu coming to clean up the bodies of the guards. The street is currently closed. Today is the day when the princes from all over the world come, and people must not see Konoha's plight. Nara Shikaku's first reaction was to maintain stability, and his second reaction was to minimize the impact. It would be best if no one knew what was happening here. Shikaku-sama, a big man with a green scarf on his head and scars on his face came over. He is actually not much older than Ueyu Shion. At a young age, he was already the head of the Konoha torture department. He once fell into the hands of the enemy and endured inhuman torture to preserve Konoha's secrets. Therefore, he also gained the trust and promotion of the village. Ibexi. Nara Shikaku called out the other person's name. Morino Ihiki looked at the Anbu coming in and out and nodded slightly. As the head of the torture department, in addition to being responsible for interrogating prisoners, he also has the authority to command Anbu. After all, interrogating intelligence and Anbu duties are 2 things that are absolutely linked. After preliminary inspection, it was found that the enemy had stolen many secrets of the village and they are currently on the run. Let's not talk about the bad intentions of Kurigaku's group of guys who came to take the Chunin exam. Now that the fact has been done, how to make up for it is what needs to be considered at the moment. And his responsibility is to lead the Anbu to recover the guys from Kurigaku. Among the enemies, there is Loquat Juzo. He just performed a rear end. Nara Shikaku's tone was very serious. Loquat Juzo is the former Kurigaku Ninja Saber 7. At the end of the Third Ninja War, that guy left Kurigaku, but now for some unknown reason, he started acting together with his original colleagues again. And according to the official documents signed by Yagura, it is obvious that this is not a fake. That guy is very strong, not something ordinary ninjas can catch. Loquat Juzo has been famous for a long time, and now he is back again and has done such a big thing. His strength cannot be underestimated. If you want to hunt him down, at least let Kakashi accompany you. Anbu class 6 inches is the most elite class among all Anbu classes. Kakashi is the squad leader of Anbu Team 6, and among their team members there is Tenzo, a member of the Anbu team. Nara Shikaku's arrangement is obviously no problem. I see. Ibuxi nodded vigorously, knowing the danger factor of this mission. No matter what the reason is for Loquat Juzo to join Kurigakure's camp, as long as he or his accomplices are caught, they will naturally know everything. Because no one can survive his own interrogation. Everyone, please follow me. The branch ninja of the Hyuga clan is using his Byakugan to capture the escape route of Juzo and others. As long as they don't open a distance of more than 10 kilometers, they will be bitten by their own side. Behind the mountains of Konoha, deep inside. Shish, Uzumaki Naruto, look what we found. There is a lone wild boar here, we can try to capture it. A wild boar can provide us with energy for several days, it is rich in a lot of protein, but the wild boar is not easy to deal with. We approach it slowly from behind, be careful not to make any noise. Zuozi was leaning forward, holding a bow and arrow in his hand, approaching the wild boar. Naruto found it very interesting to see Seiko with an extremely professional posture, transforming into Belgris. Call out. Seiko took a bow and shot an arrow, and the flying arrow stuck directly into the wild boar's back. Hey, I shot it. It struggled hard, hurry up, work harder. Let's cut off its head. Just when Seiko asked Naruto to work harder, Naruto stood there, unmoved. The wild boar screamed in pain, spread its limbs, and began to run away frantically. The animals in the ninja world are completely different from those in the previous life. After all, in this world, toads can grow up to 18 meters tall, and they also have magical energy like chakra. The wild boar, with its above-average IQ, easily judged that the two humans behind him were not easy to mess with. So it gave up the idea of revenge and ran away howling miserably. Uzumaki Naruto. Zuozi turned his head dissatisfied, his eyebrows furrowed. Why are you just standing there? Now, screw it up. If it goes back to notify its companions, then our operation today will be completely ruined. And soon, Seiko waited for Naruto's reply. Naruto looked innocent and narrowed his eyes. Pigs are so cute, why should we eat them? Zuozi. Kyuubi. Seiko was shocked by Naruto's speech and froze on the spot. It took a while for her to react. You guy, there's nothing wrong with your head. Just when Zuozi was about to continue saying something, mist suddenly filled the forest. In less than 5 seconds, the fog went from just rising to thickening to the point where it was almost impossible to see the surrounding area within 2 meters. Boy, be careful. Juwei, who was fishing, was immediately awakened. It was very experienced in beast life and immediately recognized that this was the effect caused by ninjutsu. It seems to be the Kurigaku ninjas, Kurigaku jutsu. Quote. Naruto looked at the thick fog and began to recall the knowledge in his mind amid Kyuubi's reminder. As a fire scientist, Naruto is familiar with all ninjutsu. The art of Kurigaku is recorded in the official formula book, Book of Rin, and the difficulty level is D level. It is a technique that almost every Kurigaku ninja can master. As high as the Mizukage, and as low as the Kurigaku Genin. It is a must-have. Different Kurigaku ninjas have different strategies and methods of use. The most basic function is to confuse the enemy's naked eyesight, making people directly become blind. What's wrong? Zuozi felt vaguely uncomfortable and thought it was just an ordinary mist. It's Kurigaku's art. Naruto took a step forward and protected Seiko. Then, Naruto began to explain various knowledge of this technique to Seiko. Finally, Naruto said, in other words, the ninjas from Kurigaku village sneaked in and targeted the two of us. Seiko. Ha, don't worry, I'm very strong. Seiko. Oh. In Sako's eyes, Naruto's sudden change of aura gave people a very handsome feeling. But, the more sincere, steady, and smooth his expression is, the more worried he is. Because, Uzumaki Naruto, I know very well that you're. Seiko started pointing at her head, implying that Naruto was an idiot, and idiots like to have whims. Quote. But it has reached this level, the situation is a bit bad. Gotta see a doctor. Naruto. Huh, what I mean is, delusion is also a disease. I have read in books that it is called hysteria. Of course, considering your age and gender, you should be a boy. The usual, chunabu. Seiko raised his hand and pressed it on Naruto's arm. The force was very gentle and a little warm. The touch of his fingertips made Naruto extremely comfortable. Due to some unexpected incident or being in a special environment, the reaction is like a dog experiment. Seiko closed her eyes and began to nod. Naruto thought that Seiko must be referring to the Pavlov reaction. Although there is no Pavlov in the world of Naruto, there are similar principles and experiments. When there is an opportunity to express myself, I will turn it into a specific expression according to the imagination in my head. But very embarrassing. Embarrassing to the sky. It's so embarrassing that I'm picking my feet. A real man. Seiko then signaled to Naruto to take a deep breath. It would be okay. Because he is a great man and cute. We can go out, but it's just fog. Zuozi didn't finish, because suddenly Naruto came closer, from Sako's perspective. In fact, Naruto rushed over and pushed Seiko down. What are you doing? Tisk. The flying kunai passed over the location where the two were just now. One stabbed into the bush. One fired up flying grass clippings. At this time, Seiko, who was pressed down by Naruto, finally showed a surprised expression. The Uchiha clan is a wealthy clan in Konoha, with a long history that can be traced back to 1,000 years ago. The Nanga Shrine, which has survived countless hardships, is a living proof of the clan's history. The Uchiha clan, which is famous for its ninja skills, can continue to this day, naturally relying on its strong combat capabilities. However, Seiko, who lives in peacetime, is an absolute landlubber. She has never been in actual combat, and her ideas are not much different from those of most ordinary people in Konoha. Although she has been determined to become a ninja since she was a child, it is only on paper after all. She has never seen real danger, nor has she fought with enemy ninjas. The real ninja world, all this is as far away as the horizon for Seiko. In comparison, Naruto, who already has rich combat experience, is a real ninja to some extent. As the saying goes, no effort is wasted. All the efforts in the past have finally paid off today. If it is spread that Uzumaki Naruto died from a flying kunai arrow, it would be a huge joke. Are you okay? Naruto got up from the ground and began to be alert to his surroundings with a cautious attitude. What is annoying is that the mist hidden technique obscures one's vision. This technique is not of high level and does not consume much mana, but the effect is very excellent. Naruto, who has always been used to rushing around, suddenly found that it is quite difficult to deal with such an enemy. After all, if you can't even see where the enemy is or who he is, then what's the point of fighting? However, there is a solution, and it is very simple. Just choose a direction at random and rush out all the way. After all, the range of fog is limited. The thick fog released by Zabuza in the original work only covered a small section of the bridge. Even if the number of enemies is plural, can it cover the entire Konoha? By the way, where are the two people, Gekko Gale and Azuki Yugao? Why did they disappear at the critical moment? This reminded Naruto of the officials who always came late after the fight in the movie. It is true that relying on others is never as good as relying on oneself. Naruto looked at Seiko. Can you still move? Of course. Seiko stood up quickly and began to look around vigilantly. After all, she was an Uchiha, and she soon began to get into her role. Seiko tried to use the knowledge in her mind and tried to judge the current situation. Let's run. Naruto decided to run away with Seiko. Before figuring out the strength and number of the enemy, getting out of the fog first is the best solution. Okay. Seiko immediately agreed to Naruto's proposal. So the two of them ran immediately. I don't know if it was an illusion, the fog seemed to have become lighter, and then I could see the scenery in front of me a little more clearly. On the other side of the fog, Azuki Yugao and Gekko Gale were also trapped in the tunnel. When the unknown mist filled the scene, they discovered the existence of the enemy. It was indeed a very suitable time to infiltrate Konoha with the help of the Chunin exam. And only the ninjas of the Hidden Mist village could perform the mist-hidden art. They pretended to accept Konoha's kindness to participate in the Chunin exam, but the things in their bones could not be changed. What Moonlight Gale was worried about was, the other party had set their sights on Naruto, and possibly also Uchiha Fugaku's daughter. Shi-yan, you go back immediately to ask for help, and report this matter to the Hokage. No matter which of the two children, they cannot be lost. But, Shi-yan hesitated about Qingmei's decision. Now is not the time to show off. After all, we don't even know the number and strength of the enemy. The next moment, a figure suddenly appeared in the mist. This made Shi-yan and Moonlight Gale highly alert. The enemy's true identity. What, have you made up your mind? Carrying a beheading sword, Biwa Juzo appeared in front of the two, blocking their way like a door god. When Gecko Hayate and Azuki Yugao saw each other's faces clearly, they couldn't help but be horrified. Ninja swords. 7 people. Yugao almost groaned when she said the name. To be precise, it was former Kurigakure ninja, Biwa Juzo. It turned out to be him. When the two of them were still young, Biwa Juzo had been famous for a long time. Such a strong man, a traitor of Kurigakure, appeared in Konoha. This made Hayate and Yugao immediately think of places like underground gold exchange. Many ninjas who betrayed the village would make a living in these underground black markets. In order to survive, they would do anything evil and accept any unthinkable and even unethical tasks. Yugao, who was still a little hesitant, instantly approved Qingmei's proposal. They should indeed seek support, because such a strong man is not something they can defeat. Shi-yan, go. Sensing the murderous wind from Biwa Juzang, he immediately asked his lover to leave. The next moment, the other party might take action. I understand. Shi-yan is not a fussy woman, although she looks soft and like a porcelain doll. But after all, she is an elite of the Anbu and knows that she should not be emotional at this time. So, she suddenly jumped and retreated to the edge of the jutsu. Then, next, let me stop you temporarily. Hayate pulled out the katana behind him. This action caused Biwa Juzang to sneer. The so-called showing off one's skills in front of an expert refers to the current situation. The ninjas of Kurigakure have been trained in the use of various knives since childhood, so that they can inherit 7 knives in the future. In other words, every Kurigakure ninja is an expert in using knives. Playing with a knife in front of someone who is proficient in swordsmanship is really hilarious. Tujutsu. But the next moment, holding the knife in one hand and forming a seal with the other hand, the wind disappeared. Oh, Biwa Juzo raised his eyelids, and his playful expression slightly subsided. Pa! The soles of his feet stepped on the dead branches. The mist in front of him became lighter and lighter, facing the strong wind. The unprecedented experience made Sako's heart surge. Although she was very nervous and a little scared, the heat continued to radiate from her body. Then, she looked at the back of the head in front of her. I mean, Uzumaki Naruto. I didn't expect him to be so calm and not afraid directly when encountering things. As expected, I still have a good eye for choosing friends. Because she was temporarily out of the dangerous situation, Seiko began to feel happy in her heart, but she didn't notice that the danger was approaching again. Leave, Seiko cheered. The light mist in front of her almost disappeared. To be precise, the two finally left the range of the mist-hidden technique. But where are we now? Seiko looked back at the extremely high cliff. It took her several seconds to realize that it was the back of the Hokage Rock. In other words, we left Konoha. Yes, little guys. The vulgar female voice in front of her made Seiko turn her head. A hideous ninja appeared around without her knowing. It was a woman. The clothes were mainly blue, which matched her blue hair. And she had a shark-like good teeth. It was clear from the dress and forehead protector that she was not a ninja from Konoha. She is from the mist-hidden village. Seiko still had basic identification. Juzo, that guy actually wants to eat alone. Seeing his sneaky look, there is indeed something fishy. It turns out that he is doing this for the Uchiha brat. In addition to using the mist-hidden technique, he actually used the fox heart technique to lure the two brats out of Konoha. The yellow-haired Naruto next to Seiko was directly ignored by her. The extremely eye-catching Uchiha clan emblem on Sako's clothes became the focus of her attention. The extremely recognizable clan emblem, coupled with the resounding name of Uchiha in the ninja world, made Seiko the enemy's first choice. Zuozi couldn't help but take 2 steps back. But thinking about Naruto's presence, she felt that she couldn't behave too badly. So he stepped forward, took a deep breath, and shouted loudly. HMPH, how dare those Kurigakure guys have bad ideas? Do you think no one will pay attention to you during the Chunin exams? Let me tell you, old woman, my tribe will be here soon. Quote. Sako's loud testimony failed to cause any psychological fluctuations in the other party. But the words, old woman, made the other party unable to hold back. Old woman. The Kurimagakure Kunoichi's cheek began to twitch while carrying the sword on her back. Ah, I remembered it. No wonder you look familiar to me. You look like the female character in a movie I watched. Yes, the old villain in The Origin of Princess Funyun, which she was immersed in experimenting with the power of demons in an attempt to conquer the world, but she missed her wedding and became an old woman that no one wanted. She kept ogling the handsome warrior who was protecting Princess Funyun, so disgusting. According to the timeline, Fenghua Xiaoshui has already begun to join the entertainment industry. The Princess of Wind and Cloud series is not just one. Instead, movies like Lord of the Rings have continuous movie episodes. As soon as Princess of the Storm was released, it became popular throughout the ninja world. The actress Fuji Fuyuki under the pseudonym Fuka Koyuki has become a household name. Naruto thought about these things, and then looked at Seiko behind him. It's completely unexpected that Seiko has such a cute side. And this also shows from another perspective that Zuozi, who has family and clansmen and lives a happy life, should have a lively and cheerful personality. Ah, why, are you angry? Want to do something to us? Let me warn you first. Old woman, if you dare to touch us, my people will give you. Zuozi didn't finish his words. Because her poisonous tongue has made the other party lose his mind. Little devil, the Kurigakure Kunoichi who pulled out her sword with a swishing sound no longer wanted to capture Seiko alive. All she wanted to do now was cut the kid in half with one knife. However, she moved quickly, and Naruto moved even faster. The seemingly immature body jumped up and kicked the opponent's wrist with extremely smooth movements. The sword was released and flew into the air. What? The spinning body threw out the other foot and directly kicked the opponent's cheek with his heel. Ah! Huge power burst out from his immature body. It was like being hit by a large hammer flying from the side. The Kurigakure Kunoichi instantly tilted and fell to the side. Snap! Naruto landed firmly. This scene made Zuozi stunned. Then, she saw Naruto reaching out and grabbing her clothes, and then yanked hard. The scene before my eyes began to blur. Then, there was a sound of wind in my ears. Tisk tisk tisk. Dense kunai fell on the two people's original positions. Just now, the unlucky Kunoichi was pierced by a large handful of kunai that flew towards her. What happened? Her colleagues are here. Naruto took Sako's hand and fled quickly. There is no concept of companions in Kurigakure. For them, every colleague is an object that can be abandoned at any time. Seiko looked back against the wind. The female ninja from the enemy country lying on the ground had many kunai stuck in her body, and the blood staining the ground was expanding. The cruel side of the ninja world was shown to Seiko for the first time. It also made her understand that the world she lives in is never a simple world. I will leave a psychological shadow, Seiko murmured in her heart. So, that person, dead, Naruto replied calmly, we have no reason to care about her. She is an enemy. The sound of pursuit came from behind, and Seiko forced herself to divert her attention to running away. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of kunai and shuriken breaking through the air resounded, which made Seiko feel that she was very close to the god of death. Until, a kunai dragged fireworks and flew over. The enemy actually used a detonating tag. That was a weapon that even a chunin had to carefully calculate. Boom, explosion, roar. Seiko felt herself being thrown into the air. Was I killed by the explosion? No, I'm just a child. Plop. Seiko fell headfirst to the ground. Ouch. Kids, keep running. The enemy's grim laughter came from nearby. Seiko tried to move her body and found that she still had arms and legs. Great. Sitting on the ground, looking behind her. Because of the explosion of the detonating tag, the nearby bushes were ignited. The air was distorted and swaying with smoke. Standing on the grass, Naruto's tall back made Seiko feel an inexplicable throbbing in her heart. But the next moment, Sako's mood went from the clouds to the bottom of the valley. This guy, Seiko, with a livid face, looked at Naruto, who was in a fighting posture. He's not going to fight 1 vs 5. That's right, the enemy initially judged that there were 5 people. It's over. Naruto Uzumaki is crazy. He has serious delusions that affect his own actions. Don't look at him so calm, it's actually the result of self-hypnosis. Chunobu, no, hysteria is like this. Although I dragged him into this scene, if I hadn't suggested hunting wild boars, this would never have happened. But, if I had known that he had such severe hysteria, I would never have brought him out. At this time, I should have checked his brain in the Konoha hospital. Now he actually wants to fight 5 people alone. He must even be fantasizing that he can kill a lot of people. There's no hope. Seiko sighed. Run quickly, Naruto Uzumaki. Seiko signaled Naruto that if the two of them tried harder, they might be able to escape from the other side's encirclement. Naruto. Escape. This word seemed to trigger some kind of stress response. Naruto left Seiko with his back. Turning his head slightly, Seiko could not see his face clearly in the dark. But at that moment, Seiko felt that she did not know whether it was an illusion. Uzumaki Naruto's blue eyes shone with extremely sharp light. The next moment, Naruto took out the kunai and threw it out in an extremely handsome posture. Although it was useless, the crooked flying props naturally did not achieve any results, which made Seiko even more desperate. Look, this kid even threw the kunai crookedly. The 5 mist ninjas approaching from far away laughed hideously. But the next moment, what happened made them shut their mouths. Naruto took a step and sprinted. He ran to the first enemy and kicked him. The loud noise of the hit was accompanied by the sound of broken bones, and the enemy flew out instantly. This scene of flying man reminded Seiko of the first time she met Uzumaki Naruto, who was also flying in the air like this. Snap. Naruto, who landed, moved his hands slightly and put on the goggles hanging around his neck. This was naturally done to cover the eyes that had turned into scarlet vertical pupils under the goggles. This kid. The 4 people immediately realized that something was wrong and took up their positions. Swish. The sword was swung out. Be careful. Seiko shouted loudly. Before she could shout, Naruto crouched down in a flash. The sword that passed over his head tore through the air. Naruto, who was squatting, rushed forward and hit the enemy's body. The opponent, who was knocked away, hit the boulder next to him hard. The stone exploded like snowflakes. Naruto picked up the sword that had slipped out of his hand. Then, he turned around and threw it, and the flying sword pierced another person's body. There are 3 left. Naruto whispered the number of remaining enemies. Is this still the guy Uzumaki Naruto? Seiko looked at the scene in front of her and couldn't help but express her feelings. Naruto's movements were comparable to those of the most well-trained ninjas. Then, Naruto rushed into the enemy camp and began to fight with the enemy. Shouts, the sound of weapons breaking through the air, the sound of fighting, all of this was a scene that Seiko had never seen before. Seiko, who originally thought that Uzumaki Naruto was stupid, had to believe the attitude shown by the former. Standing in the wind, Sako's hair was shaking, sparks were flying, and the smell of burning detonating tags stimulated the tip of her nose. So this is the world of ninjas. As the last enemy fell, Naruto, who easily resolved the battle, breathed a sigh of relief. This battle was actually quite dangerous for him. After all, he only borrowed a little bit of the power of the 9 tails, did not cover the tailed beast coat, and did not explode the tail. If he was not careful, he would really get hurt. But if he rashly exploded the tail in front of Seiko, it would cause unpredictable consequences. But, kid, the Kurigakure ninja lying on the ground looked up, obviously not daring to believe that the group would be wiped out by a kid. Who is this yellow-haired guy? But do you think this is the end? Hee. After saying that, he fell down again. Let's go. Naruto ignored the other party's standard villain's harsh words, and walked directly towards Seiko, motioning her to leave with him. Oh. After experiencing what happened at the moment, Seiko subconsciously followed Naruto's arrangement. Along the way, Seiko looked at Naruto's back, feeling familiar and strange. She didn't know what kind of environment Naruto grew up in. His mother said that he was alone since he was a child, and his parents died to save the village. In other words, in such a living environment, he had to survive like a stray dog or a stray cat in a cruel growing environment. Because no matter what, it is impossible for Uzumaki Naruto to go out of the village to perform missions and defeat the enemy. Chapter 71. Naruto, are you feeling okay? Seiko asked with concern. I'm fine. Naruto nodded with goggles on, his pupils had returned to blue. I care about what that guy said just now. The Nine Tails was not surprised at all that Naruto could beat up a few minions. Borrowing its power and practicing Yang escape, it would be interesting if he couldn't even deal with a few small fish. That's just a classic statement from a villain. Naruto replied to the Nine Tails in his heart. They walked for about 5 or 6 minutes, heading back to Konoha. The two gradually returned to the back mountain, and suddenly Naruto stopped. What's wrong? Seiko asked. There's movement ahead. Naruto stretched out his hand to signal Seiko to stop. The panting of humans could be heard behind the bushes, and there was a smell of blood. Is it an enemy? Naruto picked up a small branch and pushed aside the bushes. Uzumaki. Naruto. A boy with dark circles under his eyes sat on the ground with his back against a tree trunk. His breathing was very weak, his whole body was almost soaked with sweat, and his pale cheeks had a certain firm will. Sister Shi Yan's childhood sweetheart. Moonlight Gale. Naruto's expression changed in a second. His tone became a lot more silly. Looking at the posture of covering his abdomen and bleeding continuously, Naruto knew. Moonlight Gale was chopped again. A few minutes later. Listen to me, Uzumaki Naruto, the enemy is lurking nearby. Moonlight Gale looked around with a vigilant look. And Seiko tore off a piece of his sleeve to bandage him. Seiko had practiced this basic medical knowledge. Looking at the way the Konoha ninja in front of him talked with Naruto, Seiko became more and more curious about Naruto. Naruto, this guy, actually knows the ninja in the village. It's strange to say this, but generally speaking, it's impossible for the two to be familiar with each other with such a big age difference. But the two seemed to be old friends who had known each other for many years. In fact, this was the first official meeting between Naruto and Gekko Hayate. At other times, Gekko Hayate acted as a protector, dressed in various ways, and only exchanged glances with Naruto in the dark. If I'm not mistaken, the enemy used a large-scale illusion. Fox Heart Technique. Fox Heart Technique is a very popular and common sea-level illusion. This technique can distort the local scenery and make the human eye make wrong judgments, thus creating a circle-like scene like a ghost wall. Seiko recalled this knowledge and asked, "Can't you solve it?" Gekko Hayate shook his head. The enemy is. He thought about it and didn't say anything about Biwajuzo, because saying it would only make the two little ghosts despair. Anyway, Shion has gone to ask for help, wait a little longer, hold on for a while. Don't run around. The fox's mind technique, this illusion will only make us waste our physical strength in vain. Hearing what he said, Seiko was even more confused. She and Uzumaki Naruto came to the back mountain, and they could say they were hunting wild boars. This guy, and the Shion he mentioned, why did they appear here? Is it because they noticed the enemy's traces, so they performed their normal tracking duties? Don't talk for now. Naruto stretched out his hand and poked the bandaged wound of Moonlight Gale. The latter immediately began to twitch and showed a painful expression. Naruto, what are you doing? Seiko was shocked. He was so seriously injured, and you poked his wound. Moonlight Gale rolled his eyes and soon fainted. Seiko, the enemy is coming. Naruto did not answer Seiko's question, but stared at the thick fog that began to rise again around him. Obviously, the real enemy has appeared. Gekko Gale is a special Jonin, and a ninja with a transparent escape bloodline limit. The fact that Gekko Gale can be injured like this proves that the opponent is at least a Jonin, or even an elite Jonin like Gaara's guiding Jonin Maki. Chi-chi. The sound of breaking through the air came. The flying kunai shot at Naruto. Such a simple killing move is easy to dodge. But if it is combined with the mist hiding technique, it will cause a scene where you can't see your hand in front of you, and suddenly the enemy's kunai will appear in front of you. From Seiko's perspective, it is the flying props that directly emerged from the mist. And the target of these kunai is Naruto. Seeing this familiar killing method, Naruto knew that it was the guy at the beginning. Move your feet, shake your body, and avoid the flying props that attack you. Oh, a man's teasing voice came from the mist. How about this? 3 kunai flew over again. This time, they formed a pin-shaped array. More importantly, 3 detonating talismans were dragged behind the kunai. And the target is Seiko. Once hit head-on, it will be blown to pieces. Seiko watched this scene, and in order to protect her, Naruto pushed Seiko away. However, the detonating talisman did not explode. The burned paper finally turned into ashes. The detonating talisman is fake. Sure enough, as long as you take action against your companions, you will take action. A figure emerged from the mist. For 2 children, the other's adult height is enough to be called tall. Naruto narrowed his eyes and stared carefully at the image in the mist. That look of carrying a big knife, could it be? Asshole. Zuozi, who was teased, immediately threw his shuriken, but the opponent easily dodged it. I'll take care of you later. The other party said to Zuozi. First kill the yellow-haired kid who is protecting you. From beginning to end, Juzang never took Seiko seriously. As the footsteps ran, the heavy sword swung over. Even Naruto would not resist such a heavy attack. As a result, Naruto ducked and began to dodge Juzo's attacks. However, Juzang is no ordinary trash fish. When Naruto saw the other person's face clearly, he immediately understood that he had encountered the biggest crisis since time travel. After all, the loquat Juzang in front of him is a real strong man. The heavy knife, which was 2.1 meters long, was swung in his hand as easily as a blade. After a few rounds, Naruto was stretched thin and in danger. Naruto. Seiko planned to rush over to help, but another Juzo appeared and stopped her. This Juzo has a faint water-colored luster on its body, and has a completely different shape from the main body. Lie down. With a horizontal slash. In Juzang's eyes, the yellow-haired kid in front of him was about to be chopped into 2 pieces. However, the next moment, he quickly backed away like a frightened bird. Juzang looked at Naruto's eyes with a surprised look on his face. The pair of vertical pupils, and the face that became sharp and sharp. In an instant, he understood. Ha, hee, ha. I didn't expect it would be a Jinchuriki. Juzo, who had distanced himself from Naruto, seemed to have some kind of magic power in the word he spoke. Jinchuriki. A flash of lightning flashed in Zuozi's mind, as if he had caught something. Juzang's body did not continue to attack, but quickly retreated. Wow! The sound of the rushing river reached my ears. Juzang raised his hand and formed a seal. Ever since that thick eyebrow wearing a ridiculous green tights destroyed our team of 7. I have been very cautious about the guys in Konoha. Naruto suddenly showed the power of the Jinchuriki, which immediately made Juzo extremely wary. During the 3rd Ninja War that year, Mad Dai defeated the 7 ninja swordsmen. As one of the victims, Juzang saw the hidden power of Konoha. From then on, he became extremely wary of any Konoha ninja. Even if you're just a brat, it is still not to be underestimated. After all, I have really seen how strong the Jinchuriki is, that is, the current 4th generation Mizukage and Goju Yagura. Water escape, water body. With the sound of the river breaking, multiple identical figures suddenly emerged from it. This completely confirmed the evidence that the other party was from Kurigakure. Water release. Water body jutsu is AC level ninjutsu. With the water source, a large number of clones can be continuously created with very low chakra consumption. Each clone will inherit 10% of the original body's abilities. Its ability, not strength. In other words, if we only talk about hand-to-hand combat, the water clone technique will be a very good physical clone technique. Don't blame me for being so cautious, little devils. The faint voice of Juzo, whose body was hidden in the mist, came from a deep place. As a result, the water clones, who were like living corpses and refused to sleep, attacked Naruto one after another. Seiko. Jinchuriki, what exactly is it? Sako's slight murmur was caught by Juzo, who had excellent hearing. The strong ones who can freely control the Kurigakure jutsu, without exception, all have a pair of good ears. Kid, don't you know? Then I will tell you, the companion who is with you, the true identity of this yellow-haired boy. Some evil thoughts were contained in Shizo's voice. Zuozi swallowed and felt his heart slowly being grasped by something invisible. Juzo. The so-called Jinchuriki. In Juzang's explanation, Seiko gradually understood the nature of Naruto. The terrifying tailed beast was stuffed into the human body and became the object of fear for everyone. Haha, don't get me wrong, I'm not just referring to this yellow-haired boy, there are monsters like him, there are more monsters in this world. There are another 8. Every Jinchuriki will have a miserable childhood or life. Whether they become a Jinchuriki voluntarily or passively, they are no longer human. But, a monster who will go berserk at some point and cause havoc in the village. Anyone would be disgusted by such a time bomb. So, you his companion, this yellow-haired brat, is the 9-tailed demon fox that once brought trouble to your konoha. Laugh. The water body's knife, like a real broadsword, made a wound on Naruto's body. Blood splattered everywhere. Naruto staggered back a few steps. Naruto. Zuozi ran over in a panic, but suddenly stopped. Because of Juzo's description, the strange feeling he felt from Naruto turned into terror. Although it looks like a human on the outside, the terrifying 9-tailed demon fox is sealed inside its body. The destruction that Kyuubi caused to the village is still vivid in his mind. Even if you don't have any experience as a baby, you can still understand the terror of the Kyuubi and the pain it causes through other people's descriptions. Ahem. At this moment, Gale coughed a few times and he woke up. Hayate, who didn't know the cause and effect, only saw Naruto injured and Seiko standing there dumbly. Hey, kid, why are you standing there stupidly? Please help. Holding the wound on his abdomen, Hayate shouted with all his strength, which made his lips paler. He got no reply. Other side. The injured Naruto lowered his head, and because of the goggles he was wearing, Seiko couldn't see Naruto's face clearly. Tick, tick, blood dripped from his body. And what Naruto did next was, Kyuubi, it's time to pay the rent. Along with the low murmur, orange-red light instantly rose into the sky and saturated Naruto's body. The strong wind stirred, and the power of the 9 tails began to rise. The spiral chakra rose and appeared above Naruto's head, faintly transforming into a roaring 9-tailed head. Amazing power, Juzo commented. Kid, your companion, is an absolute monster. Facing Naruto's gesture of releasing the power of the 9 tails, Hayate was instantly stunned. The strong wind seemed to blow away part of the fog. Immediately afterwards, Naruto jumped up and smashed the water clones around him one by one. The situation reversed instantly. Naruto gained the upper hand and easily defeated Juzu's technique. During a certain gap, Naruto, who had landed on the ground, turned and looked over, his face more serious than ever. Don't worry, I will be able to deal with him in a while, and then, you can return to your tribe. Woo! The scene in front of him and the words Naruto spoke made Zuozi's heart tighten completely. She felt out of breath. Obviously, this guy Uzumaki Naruto worked hard to make friends with him and tried his best to protect him. Even if he gets hurt because of it. But I hesitated because of the words spoken by my enemy. Whether it's a demon fox or a monster, no matter what, he is his friend, Uzumaki Naruto. From the first meeting, that cautious attitude. Afterwards, he was overwhelmed by the hostility of the villagers. Then follow yourself closely and persist in wanting to be your partner. That's how it turns out. His identity as a Jinchuriki led him into despair and darkness, and he sought light from the darkness. That's how it turns out. After understanding everything in Naruto's origin, Seiko felt strong emotions well up in her heart. It's like a wave that keeps hitting my heart. Self-blame, shame, as well as concern and pity for Naruto made his body heat up, and a heat flow surged out like a furnace. These hot currents rushed to the brain. This is an emotion and experience that I have never experienced before. A little light sprouted from the darkness. Zuozi stretched out his hand of will and grabbed the light and fire. As the water bodies break apart, more water bodies emerge from the mist. With the help of the endless river, Loquat Juzo can almost unscrupulously create water clones in quantities exceeding 3 digits. As long as you keep consuming it, victory will be easy. Even though the tailed beast's chakra is unlimited, the Jinchuriki's physical strength is limited. And this kid is not very old. Even if the power of the 9 tails explodes, it will definitely not be able to release all the tails, which means that his power will never last long. Juzang hid in the dark, looking forward to the results of the battle. Seiko, Seal, Naruto, Juzo, and Moonlight Hayate. Zuozi suddenly shouted, but no one understood what she meant. The other party uses ninjutsu, we also use ninjutsu, well. My brain was suddenly surrounded by inexplicable feelings. This feeling is like a dream before waking up every morning. All kinds of knowledge suddenly appeared in my brain. Just use wind escape. Among the 5 attributes, at the same level and with the same chakra output, the wind attribute is the easiest to achieve the greatest range of damage. But the wind attribute is also the rarest attribute in konoha. The soil and water support a person, and the main attribute of most konoha ninjas is fire. The most representative one is the Uchiha clan. You can destroy these water bodies and the Kurigakure jutsu in one breath. Moonlight Gale. What this Uchiha brat said makes sense, but her attribute is fire. Unless he was an Uchiha Junin. A Jonin can possess at least 2 nature changes, and only then will it be possible to use wind release. Naruto, follow me. Seiko raised his hands, a scarlet luster flashing in his eyes. Naruto looked over and saw Seiko forming seals. She made the seals very slowly, trying to make Naruto understand. There are only a few seals. It is a foolproof ninjutsu. The more experienced Moonlight Gale saw at a glance that it was the seal of wind style, great breakthrough. This technique has a difficulty level of C. It shows different powers according to the amount and nature of the user's chakra. The basic distance is to use chakra to condense the air to form wind pressure, and then blow it in one breath to form a strong wind. The wind force level starts at level 7. The powerful can even cause a destructive effect like a typhoon passing through. How can this Uchiha kid know how to use this technique? In the surprised eyes of Gale, Seiko taught Naruto how to make the seals. Impossible. Gale said that he would learn and use it immediately. And how can you assume that Uzumaki Naruto has the wind attribute? Uzumaki Naruto. Yes, his father, the 4th Hokage, has the wind as his main attribute, which means wind style. Naruto was making hand seals in a very formal manner, but his hand seals looked quite clumsy. However, when the hand seals were completed, Naruto puffed up his chest and took a deep breath. Then, he exhaled. Big breakthrough. How powerful is the sea-level ninjutsu in the state of the tailed beast coat? The storm, which should have been transparent, was actually faintly scarlet at this time. When the fierce scarlet wind passed through, Moonlight Gale could not believe his eyes. What? Juzang's water clones only had time to make a horrified expression. All the clones were submerged by the storm. Boom boom boom. The grass was lifted up and the big tree was uprooted. The thick tree that one person hugged actually flew into the sky like garbage. This also indicated that the fog had dissipated. Under the sudden attack of the ultra-large-scale wind escape and breakthrough, the thick fog almost dissipated. Moonlight Gale looked at the terrifying wind escape that was more than 3 or 5 times more powerful than the ordinary breakthrough, and didn't know what to say for a while. The ground blown by the typhoon became clean as if cleaning garbage. Dozens of water clones were all destroyed, and even the water droplets were blown away. Nine-tailed. This kid. The one who was more surprised was the nine-tailed. It stared at Seiko, and the dark scarlet in the latter's eyes almost turned into substance. With the appearance of the black Magatama, the Sharingan opened. Woo! Seiko, who opened the Sharingan, was happy for Naruto's victory. Seiko, who clearly felt the change in her vision, found that there were more stars in front of her. First was Naruto's figure. Like a huge torch, it exuded an unimaginable orange heat. Then came Moonlight Gale. His chakra was like a candle in the wind, as if it would be annihilated at any time. Where is it? Where is the enemy? Seiko glanced, and then locked a position. Juzo, who was hiding in the river, was suddenly horrified. Sharingan. This kid actually awakened the Sharingan in this situation. She found herself. Where? Naruto. He's hiding in the river. Seiko pointed in the direction and shouted loudly. She felt dizzy and her ears were buzzing. Before she fell, Seiko saw Naruto rushing over. Naruto was covered with an orange chakra coat, and in Sako's eyes, he was a ball of fiercely burning orange-red light. 3 dancing lines appeared behind this ball of light. Just like a tail. Go back, Seiko murmured. We can definitely go back together. After that, she fainted on the ground. Boom. The moment Seiko lost consciousness, a loud noise came. It was like a meteorite falling into the river. Naruto, who had exploded with 3 tails, was not like the one in the original book when he severely injured Jiraiya at the age of 14. At least he had the power of the 3 tails of the released 9 tails. The unrivaled power directly broke the rushing river. The terrifying water pressure impact squeezed Juzo, who was lurking in it. With his strong strength and physical fitness, he was not injured, but he lost the ability to turn his body. He only had time to raise the beheading sword, and then, a pair of enlarged scarlet vertical pupils appeared in front of him. Boom! The river water boiled, like a spring. After a while, everything returned to silence. Slowly, the broken blade of the beheading sword, a fragment, floated to the surface of the water. Floating with it was a touch of scarlet blood. The scarlet blood merged with the river water and slowly spread out. Moonlight gale. Splash. Naruto stood up from the water. The fog completely dissipated and the sun came out. Gazing at this scene, Jifeng was speechless for a long time. Swish, swish, multiple figures passed through the woods. Azuki Yugao, who was late, came with the support troops. It was not until she went to the Hokage building to report that Nara Shikaku and others realized the seriousness of the problem. The enemy's real target was not some confidential document. It was most likely the Uchiha bloodline and the 9 tails. It was the upper echelon's conjecture that the Sharingan could control the tailed beasts. And this inference can naturally be assumed by other countries. So, the guys from Kurigakure, after getting the Byakugan, actually wanted to get the Sharingan and the 9 tails. Their purpose is already very clear. So, what happened to Naruto and Uchiha Seiko? The river bank was bare as the strong wind passed through. The phenomenon caused by the storm made everyone slightly stunned. When Nara Shikaku, the leader, saw Naruto, who was safe and sound, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Medical team, treat them quickly. Hayate leaned against the tree trunk and was seriously injured. He was soon treated by the medical ninja. And Naruto's sighed, let go of my sister. Itachi's shout broke out in the crowd. Everyone looked at him, feeling that he was overreacting. At this moment, Naruto was holding Seiko, who was sleeping peacefully. This scene, in Itachi's eyes, was simply the most extreme torture. A mask of pain appeared on Itachi's face, making his expression look ferocious and scary. My sister. Not only did she not listen to me and contact Uzumaki Naruto. She was in danger because of Uzumaki Naruto. He almost killed his sister. Quote. And Naruto, with an innocent face, narrowed his eyes into a slit. Soon, Seiko was forcibly snatched away from Itachi's arms. Itachi walked away without saying a word, holding Seiko. Only when they walked a long way did he let the medical team check Sako's body. Quote. Under his squinting eyelids, Naruto's eyes flashed with brilliance. Hey, 9 Tails held his chin with one claw, and his opinion was obvious. He saved someone's sister, but in the end he still did not get any thanks, and he got nothing for nothing. At this point, Naruto knew Itachi's attitude. Uchiha Shisui's route was not feasible. Uchiha Itachi was also hopeless. There was no other way. He could only take the third path. That is, rely on my own wisdom and intelligence to save the Uchiha clan, save Uchiha Izumi, save Seiko, and Sako's mother. Wolves travel thousands of miles to eat meat, and dogs travel thousands of miles to eat shit. Dogs can't change their eating habits, and some people can't change their fate. It was hard to persuade the ghost with kind words, so Naruto decided to respect Itachi's fate. Naruto Uzumaki, are you okay? Nara Shikaku walked up to Naruto. He had talked to his son Shikamaru before, and he and Naruto were just playing together. And his son's IQ was not low either, and he also saw Naruto's strange situation in the village. After asking for his own opinion, he decided to get along well with Naruto. Naruto, Shi-Yan, who was following Shikaku, was obviously worried about her lover's injury. But she decided to see Naruto first because she was focused on the mission. Shi-Yan's sister, I'm fine, you go see brother Hayate. Naruto's honest tone made Shi-Yan's heart warm. She felt more and more the kindness of this child Naruto. Retracting his gaze from Shi-Yan's exquisite back in the Anbu uniform, Naruto looked at Nara Shikaku again. Uncle Shikaku, are Shikamaru, Choji and the others okay? They are all fine, only you were attacked. Shikaku saw at a glance that this kid was very shrewd. But he also knew how to be kind. Next, tell us the details, how about it? Shikamaru said in a gentle tone, looking at the broken blade that was fished out. The beheading sword was broken. Uzumaki Naruto is quite amazing. Has the power of the Nine Tails been released? As Kaharu and Elder Yan said, can Naruto really control part of the power of the Nine Tails? In addition, this Uchiha Itachi's reaction is indeed a bit intense. Sure enough, are all Uchiha who opened the Sharingan very extreme? Shikaku shook his head and decided not to worry about these things. Anyway, that was the work of the top leaders. 1 hour later, all the information was piled in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen and other 4 top leaders. Such a big thing, even if Sarutobi Hiruzen wanted to cover it up, he couldn't do it. How ridiculous. After learning the whole story, Udatane Kaharu was so angry that his teeth itched. First it was Kumogakure, then it was Kurigakure. Are they all targeting our Konoha Nine Tails? Oh, this also includes the Nine Tails Rebellion a few years ago. Good, good. The Uchiha has made a good start. Back then, the Uchiha attracted the Nine Tails. Udatane Kaharu, Mito Kato En, and Danzo thought so. Just because there was the first person to take the risk, there were people who made trouble one after another. Could it be that the whole ninja world now knows that our Konoha Nine Tails Jinchuriki is Uzumaki Naruto? Additional insurance is necessary. Mito Kato En frowned and decided to increase the protection of Naruto. First arrange a reinforced Anbu class for him. Hehe, I don't think that's necessary. Sarutobi Hiruzen smiled and looked at the report in his hand. Naruto's record is obvious to all. First, there were 8 Kumogakure ninjas, one of whom was a ninja leader, who was a Jonin. Now there are 6 mist ninjas, plus a Biwajuzo, who is an elite Jonin. Although it is a pity that Biwajuzo's body was not found. But the current situation of breaking the beheading sword and defeating it is still quite satisfactory. Naruto's strength is enough to protect himself. Sarutobi Hiruzen believes that what Naruto should strengthen next is the bond with the village. I heard that Fugaku's daughter opened the Sharingan during this emergency. It was because of her teaching, plus the observation of the Sharingan, that Juzo was finally defeated. When Naruto has more and more partners, his situation will naturally be safer. Sarutobi, do you mean that Naruto should continue to contact that Uchiha kid? Udatane Kaharu disagreed with this. Danzo, who was listening to the conversation between the few people, was calm. He was silent, thinking about the impact of this incident. Why did Biwajuzo, a traitor of Kurigakure, act with Kurigakure's people? And that brat Uzumaki Naruto, was able to explode 3 tails without losing himself. This even surpassed Uzumaki Kushina. It seems that I have to urge Nono to speed up the progress. The hospital 1 day later. In the ward, Zuozi underwent another physical examination. It turned out she was completely uninjured. The temporarily weak body was fed back by the opening of Sharingan, and thus grew stronger. In other words, spending 1 day in the hospital will actually make you healthier. Seiko, if you are discharged from the hospital, wait for your brother to pick you up. The note left by my mother is on top of the cabinet. The clan members, brother and mother all came to visit. But Uzumaki Naruto has been missing for the past 2 days. I'm in. At this moment, there was a sound of pushing the door outside. An Anbu walked in. Her waist-length purple hair gives her an airy look. The extremely fair skin is even more enviable. What a beautiful person. Although she didn't see the face under the mask, Zuozi still felt that the other person must be a beauty. Excuse me, are you? I'm Anbu. Maoyu Xian closed the door with her backhand. To give you some advice for the future. Don't mention Naruto Uzumaki's identity to others. You get the idea. Naruto is the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, the container of the tailed beasts. Seiko, who had witnessed Naruto's explosion of 9 tails chakra, would naturally spread the news. This is the village's extremely secret information. Most of the time, it can be regarded as the highest level of S-level confidentiality. Quote, Yugao emphasized the seriousness of all information about Naruto. That guy Uzumaki Naruto turns out to be such a special person. Single quote. Seiko thought, Based on what the guy from Kurigakure said, Naruto is probably the only Jinchuriki in Konoha and the host of the nine-tailed demon fox. I know. Yes. Shiyan nodded with satisfaction, and, there is something I want to thank you for. Shiyan's next words made Zuozi blink. Thank you for helping Naruto repel the enemy, and thank you for protecting my lover with Naruto. Her childhood sweetheart and lover. Moonlight Hayate. The face of the boy with dark circles appeared in Sako's mind. No, it's okay. As a member of Konoha, this is what I should do, and it's basically all the effort of that guy Naruto. Zuozi waved his hands quickly, looking embarrassed. So, where's that guy Uzumaki Naruto? Protected. Shiyan originally wanted to tell Zuozi the truth, but then she thought about it and came up with the idea of teasing her. It's not certain when it will come out again. Ah, no wonder. Zuozi couldn't help but feel disappointed. By the way, does he have something to tell me? No, Mao Shiyan shook her head. So, goodbye. The other party left quietly. The door clicked shut softly. Quote. Sitting on the hospital bed, Zuozi stared at the white bedding in front of him. She couldn't help but think of her past interactions with Naruto. Being protected, it means being supervised. Maybe you will be subjected to inhuman experiments and torture, just like small experimental animals. Even if not, you will definitely be subjected to it. Others malice. Because everyone thinks that guy is a nine-tailed demon fox. As he thought about it, Zuozi began to sob and shed tears. She pitied Naruto, and because of her own fault, he was imprisoned and lost his freedom. Maybe he will die when. Who died? The door was pushed open again. Naruto walked in with an arrogant step that would disown his relatives. Naruto, of course Uzumaki Naruto. As soon as Zuozi opened his mouth, he noticed something. What's wrong? Naruto tilted his head. Is there any problem? Naruto held random wild flowers from the roadside in his hands, walked to the bedside table, threw away the expensive flowers from the Yanaka flower shop, brought by other visitors, and then inserted the wild flowers into it. Then he threw in a few pebbles also picked up from the roadside and threw them under the vase. It's so perfunctory. Zuozi couldn't help complaining. I'm so rude. I put all my effort into picking this from the roadside. I don't know how much better it is than artificially cultivated. Naruto argued. It's all my fault, it's my fault. I waited for the words of apology, but when they came to my lips, I couldn't say them. Finally, Zuozi shouted, where have you been these 2 days? He was asking questions, but his face showed a happy smile. He looked at Zuozi who had been favorably favored by him. Naruto believed that he could definitely save Uchiha. So, the third round of fighting begins. Itachi, don't you like me touching your sister? Sorry, I will definitely be more in touch. Then, completely turn Seiko into something that belongs to me, Uzumaki Naruto. That night, the scarlet moon hangs in the sky. The red moonlight shone down, shining on the land of the fire country. Dots of shining color belong to the Ice Escape, a family that should have disappeared. Monsters of the Snow Clan. The injured Juzo muttered. The clan had been wiped out by Kurigakure a long time ago, so why did it appear again? And, he even hooked up with someone from Kurigakure. Zabuza-sama, he has lost his mobility. The young man wearing a mask spoke in a gentle and androgynous tone. Then, the beheading sword was forcefully taken away from Juzang. Ha, well done, bye. From now on, I will be the new master of the beheading sword. Zabuza, who has broken black hair and a bandage on the lower half of his face, admires the beheading sword with a terrifying expression. Ahem, if I hadn't been injured. Juzang covered the wound and spat out a mouthful of blood. After being injured by the Kyuubi brat, he escaped along the fast current. But after coming out, he encountered pursuers from Kurigakure's tracking troops. Juzo, who had expected this, was not surprised by his own experience. After all, those guys in Kurigakure were like this. Let's do it quickly, Juzo said to Zabuza. The former little devil has now become a well-known assassination master. Momochi Zabuza, known as the Ghost, has mastered the silent killing technique. I'm waiting for you in hell. Just when Juzo was ready to die, Zabuza turned around and left. Kill you, although each knife holder has to kill the previous one to get the knife. But this uncle is different. I want you to live. It is much harder to take a knife from a living person than from a dead person. This will better reflect my reputation. Bye, let's go. Ahem. Juzang coughed again. You guys, like me, are not suitable for Kurigakure. Zabuza. Stop talking nonsense. Sooner or later, I will take Yagura's place, and build Kurigakure into his own kingdom. After saying the cruel words, Kurigakure's pursuers quietly left, leaving only Juzo's injured body. Losing the beheading sword is equivalent to losing the title of the 7 ninja swordsmen. In this case, do you still have the dignity to continue to survive in the world? No matter what, Xiao sighed. I'm afraid they have to consider withdrawing. Juzang coughed and began to think of another way out. Quitting Akatsuki is not an easy thing. Akatsuki's boss, Pain, is 10,000 times more terrifying than Yagura. The only way to leave that organization is to flee, the farther away the better. Based on past years, it seems that the monsters from the Kingdom of Ghosts are going to cause trouble to the world again. The most dangerous place is the safest place. It might be good to escape there. Dragging his injured body, Juzo walked step by step toward the unknown. The northeastern border of the Fire Country. Uchiha Stronghold. Against the Kumogakure front, the border war is still continuing, and with the Hidden Cloud village sending out the two-tailed Jinchuriki, Konoha's front suffered a devastating blow. A teenage girl from a foreign country was killing people everywhere, but no one could stop her. Although the strategic center of the Uchiha stronghold has never been attacked, the front line has been panicked. In order to solve this trouble, Uchiha Fugaku opened a wartime meeting and specifically designated a plan to deal with the enemy. The main executor of the plan is Uchiha Shisui, known as Shunshin Shisui, in the tribe. Only he can keep up with Erwei's extreme speed. Only the power of the Sharingan Eye can target the power of the tailed beast. On the night of the Nine Tails Rebellion, the power of the eyes that could not be tested will be tested in the near future. The plan was made and was about to be put into production, but investigators from outside received information. Kumogakure's large army, led by the second-tailed Jinchuriki, launched an attack on their own side. Uchiha Fugaku and others quickly walked outside. At this time, Kumogakure's troops had entered the 10 kilometers range that Byakugan could detect. Team leader, Shisui, who was originally the leader of secret operations, immediately realized that a war was about to break out. If a fight really breaks out, there will definitely be heavy losses. So, let me try. With that said, Shisui rushed out. Shisui, Uchiha Fugaku quickly called for help. However, Shisui's speed was so fast that only a few people could keep up with him. As the distance between the two teams got closer, the shouts behind them became louder and louder. Uchiha Shisui, stop it! Anbu and Gen's people intertwined in an attempt to stop Uchiha Shisui's recklessness. Only I can resolve this war, Shisui murmured in his heart and decided to use his hidden power. It is also the true power of the Sharingan. After another moment, the two teams finally met. The leader was a teenage exotic girl with blonde hair and blue eyes, wearing a single braid that hung down to the back of her head. Obviously, she is the two-tailed Jinchuriki in the intelligence, 2 Yukido. Hey, just a few people want to stop us. Even if you are Shunshin Shisui, don't you think it's too much? The wooden man waved his arm, causing the team to pause. She wanted to see if the Shunshin Shisui with thick eyebrows and big eyes in front of her was as powerful as the legend. Uchiha Stronghold. Uchiha Fugaku and others looked anxiously into the distance. In a vast jungle, naturally nothing can be seen. Just when he was considering whether to go to the rescue in person. Suddenly, the ninjas of the Hyuga clan shouted, retreating. The enemy is retreating. His face was full of disbelief, and his tone was trembling because of it. Completely confused about the situation, Kumogakure's large army retreated like a tide. What the hell is going on? Illusion. It must be an illusion. After thoroughly confirming the situation, the Uchiha stronghold let out an overwhelming cheer. Although he couldn't figure out the specific details, Uchiha Shisui used genjutsu to force back the two Jinchuriki, and then allowed Kumogakure's large army to evacuate. This information was heard by everyone present. Wait for Zishui to return and come to everyone. The shouts of greeting him directly drowned out the scene. However, the expressions under the masks of the several Anbu and root ninjas standing around Uchiha Shisui were quite unkind. Uchiha Shisui. I will personally explain it to Hokage-sama and the others. Shisui warned with a cold face. The secret of the eye technique of other gods. Hokage-sama and the others will know. Information from the front line spread back to Konoha like the wind. With the inexplicable retreat of the two-tailed Jinchuriki, Kumogakure's offensive was completely eased. The deflated Raikage could only blame Konoha morally for not practicing martial ethics. Afterwards, a rumored title about Uchiha Shisui quietly emerged. In addition to the title of Shunshin Shisui, Uchiha Shisui has another title of the strongest Genjutsu ninja. Because only the strongest Genjutsu can defeat the enemy with one strike, the two-tailed Jinchuriki is completely out of control of his own thoughts. That's it. The war between Konoha and Kumogakure subsided. Uchiha Shisui, Shunshin Shisui, the most powerful Genjutsu ninja's name resounded throughout Konoha. Naruto, who also learned about this, knew it very well. The great smart Uchiha Shisui has most likely told the high-level officials of Konoha that he possesses alternate gods. Danzo must have noticed the elements and had murderous intentions, leaving him to die. Uchiha Shisui's Tong life began to count down. And with his death, the end of the Uchiha clan will soon come. Until then, he still has a few things to do. Only by doing these things well can he truly save the Uchiha clan. The distant Kurigakure village. Obito and Black Zetsu and White Zetsu stood together. There is no whereabouts of Juzo yet. Several days have passed since Juzo ran away, and it turned out that he had indeed betrayed the Akatsuki organization. He ran away by boat, right at the port of Long Kingdom. Baiju replied, "Once out of the sea, the sky is high and the birds can fly. The ninja world is too big, and the 5 major countries are only a small part of this planet. Although Baiju's ability is excellent, he cannot cross the ocean. HMPH, a guy like that. Just run away. Let's go, it's time to conquer Kisame. What am I? Who am I? Where am I going?" Looking at the corpse of the watermelon mountain puffer demon in front of him, Kisame had a confused and cruel sneer on his face. Kurigakure's operation to steal Konoha's secrets was declared bankrupt halfway through. The pursuit force led by Morino Ihiki finally caught up with the Code Squad. In order to ensure that the information did not leak out, Kisame personally killed the personnel of the intelligence department. Killing his companions all the time has made Kisame confused about his own existence and even the world. Just when he put his sword on his back and prepared to leave. "Kisame, you did a good job." Sameji immediately grasped the handle of the knife and looked towards the corridor. In the darkness, 2 figures emerged. One is the 4th Mizukage Godachibana Yagura, and the other is an inexplicable figure wearing a mask. "Would you like to join me? I will tell you what the real world is like." Obito narrowed his eyes and extended an olive branch to Kisame. Juzang has been successfully persuaded to retreat. This is equivalent to losing a point of pain's power. And Kisame is the one who will join Akatsuki next and replace Juzo. At the same time, he is also a pawn that he has placed within the Akatsuki organization. Wait until the arrangements are made for Kisame. Next it was Itachi's turn. The distant ghost country. The gorgeous witch palace is built among the mountains with beautiful natural scenery. It has been fighting against demons and monsters for thousands of years, and has been passed down for dozens of generations. Each generation of witches has sacrificed their lives to seal away the monsters that have been resurrecting over a long period of time. Why don't you understand? In the Shrine Maiden's hall, a young man dressed in gorgeous clothes and a black hat shouted to the Shrine Maiden sitting in the seat. "With the power of the demon and your jutsu, it will be easy to rule the ninja world." The young man who exudes purple-black chakra and even grows chakra wings is the daimyo of the demon country. He is also the host of the ghost this time. Because of the royal blood, he has become the best carrier of the ghost. And he has an even more important identity. That is, the husband of this generation of witch. How stupid. The beautiful and solemn witch with a golden hat shook her head, her eyes full of compassion. "Why don't you believe in humans? People, believe in humans. Do you really think so?" The two who can't understand each other finally broke out into a conflict. The couple who should have loved each other, but they fought because of their differences in their positions, responsibilities, and concepts. Woo! The witch woke up from her sleep with a soft cry. The purple pattern of her pupils flowed, just like the most complicated spinning drum pattern. It seems that the memory of the dream is the result of the observation of the ability called predicting the future. It cannot be controlled autonomously, and will only be triggered automatically when a major event occurs. The Shrine Maiden saw the future. The Shrine Maiden, covered in sweat, gasped for air. It has been many years since I have predicted the future. What I saw this time was the resurrection of the monster and the breakdown of the relationship between the couple. The daimyo of the demon country was stupid and took the initiative to unlock the seal of the monster by the previous Shrine Maiden, making himself a monster Jinchuriki. The ninjas of the demon country used the power of the monster to create various monsters through various crazy experiments, creating the so-called Ghost Army. In the end, they tried to conquer the ninja world. And that future was foreseen by myself. I looked back at my daughter who was sleeping beside me, and my lovely daughter was breathing evenly. Shion. As soon as I called out my daughter's name, the Shrine Maiden looked outside. Who? The dark hall was dark and deep. At some point, a figure appeared there. Miko-sama. The boy with round glasses raised his head, adjusted the frame of his glasses, and raised his mouth slightly. Kabuto. The Miko recognized the boy who joined the guard team some time ago. He was homeless and almost starved to death. He was taken in by the guards and eventually became a member here. And now, the seemingly gentle boy showed a very dangerous expression. Are you sent by the daimyo of the demon country? Those ninjas of the demon country are still haunting. No. Kabuto shook his head. Miko-sama, I am a ninja from Konoha. Kabuto, Yakushi Kabuto. That is, the adopted son of Yakushi Nono, who noticed what happened in the demon country recently. According to my investigation, the daimyo of the land of demons has unlocked the seal of the demons and obtained their souls and bodies. All of this happened in secret. However, it could not be hidden from the witch's foresight. Every 10 or 20 years, the demons will appear and wreak havoc on the world. Sometimes they escape naturally, and sometimes, they are man-made disasters. Kabuto chuckled. According to historical records, every time the demons appear, they will cause great damage and many casualties. In fact, I am very curious, why can't the crisis be solved once and for all? The witch said nothing. The guards are just ordinary people, who can only know some basic sealing techniques at most. Therefore, the witches of all generations have fought against the demons alone. In addition, the witches can indeed temporarily seal the demons, and over time, no one from the outside world will support the witches. Unless the witches actively ask for help. So I suggest why don't you consider going to our Konoha? Kabuto suggested. As a spy of Konoha, he is always thinking about Konoha. Doing this is naturally for the safety of everyone in the orphanage, and the safety of the director. With your power, plus the power of our Konoha ninjas, isn't it a simple matter to eliminate the monsters? This is for the people of the world. Kabuto's proposal is very attractive. Think about your daughter, Lady Shion. The daughter of the Miko, the next successor Shion, has more powerful abilities. But this is not the point. The point is, if you can let your daughter live in a world without monsters, then, you can get rid of the fate of the Miko. As a mother, naturally hope that her daughter will grow up healthily. Even if she can live like an ordinary person, it is the greatest hope as a mother. Seeing that the Miko was interested, Kabuto continued, I believe that the Hokage will definitely welcome your arrival. Well, I'll think about it. The Miko nodded, and her own reserve prevented her from answering Konoha's spy immediately. When the sky was just getting light, Konoha received the news sent back by Kabuto. Danzo looked at the report sent back by Kabuto and was very satisfied. Kabuto was a useful chess piece, and his spy professionalism was no less than that of his adoptive mother Nono. And if the Miko could come to Konoha, the ancient sealing techniques that the Miko mastered alone were enough to make people jealous. In particular, the sealing techniques that can seal demons, if used to deal with the 9-tailed demon fox and other tailed beasts. Danzo showed a terrifying smile on his gloomy cheeks, and soon finalized the secret Miko transfer mission. Hokage Building, Office. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned at his youngest son with a very fashionable hairstyle in front of him. He couldn't help but turn his eyes to the girl next to his youngest son. Asuma, Kurenai, Itachi. After calling out the names of the 3 people, Sarutobi Hiruzen issued a secret mission. The difficulty level is A level. Asuma is the leader, and Kurenai is an additional one. Because of Itachi's talent, he was allowed to perform A-level missions as an exception, which was considered to take care of his talent. There are also more than a dozen team members who participated in this protection mission. This mission is related to the peace of the ninja world. Considering the combat effectiveness of the ninjas of the demon country, the A-level evaluation is enough. Asuma, who has always been eager to be recognized, listened carefully to his old father's mission instructions, and then nodded vigorously, "Thank you very much, Lord Hokage, I will complete this mission well." Alas, Asuma, I hope you can really understand the true meaning of the will of fire. Sarutobi Hiruzen nodded, but he was very worried in his heart. The streets of Konoha in the early morning. It has been a few days since the Back Mountain incident. Seiko has been discharged from the hospital long ago, and Gecko Gale is still in the hospital. Naruto ran on the street and started his morning exercise today. The Uchiha ninjas were no longer surprised by Naruto's behavior. Especially when they learned that Naruto had saved Seiko, they were more kind to Naruto. Of course, the arrogant Uchiha would not contact others casually. So no Uchiha would take the initiative to talk to Naruto, but the kind eyes released in their eyes could not deceive people. And Naruto also had his own purpose for doing the so-called morning exercise. First, to show his face and recognition in front of most Uchiha ninjas. By going around Konoha a few times every day, you can basically know most of the Uchiha ninjas and leave an impression in their hearts. It is convenient for the next plan to save Uchiha. Second, find a way to contact some specific people. For example, Uchiha Izumi. You can't go to her house and meet her. So daily contact is particularly important. Today, Naruto saw Uchiha Izumi on patrol. She was still a genin, and she joined the police department. It can be seen that the Uchiha clan takes care of her. The beautiful girl, wearing a sleeveless dress, also shows that the weather is gradually getting warmer. Just when Naruto was about to greet her and pretend to meet her by chance, a large group of people moving on the street caught Naruto's attention. F4, Mitsui Sho, the leader with a gangster hairstyle, who else but Asuma in his rebellious period. The serious red-eyed curly-haired girl is his childhood sweetheart, Kurenai Yuhi. In the team behind him, Itachi is also among them. Naruto pondered over this huge crowd. What kind of mission requires such a group of people to carry out together? Naruto's sight attracted the attention of Kurenai Yuhi and Uchiha Itachi. Kurenai Yuhi is the daughter of Kurenai Yuhi, a very good illusion ninja, and her perception is naturally superior. And Itachi is just an enemy who is particularly jealous of each other. Naruto guessed that he might have made Itachi crazy because he took away his sister. After all, Sako's Sharingan was opened because of him. It is equivalent to being bound to Seiko. As the eldest brother-in-law, he must be angry. There will be more people who will make you even more angry later. Naruto looked at Itachi fearlessly, and after Itachi left, Naruto put his sights back on Uchiha Izumi. "Sister Izumi, good morning, what a coincidence." Naruto changed his expression in a second and said honestly. Uzumaki Naruto. Because of the previous shopping incident, Izumi recognized Naruto. When Seiko was hospitalized, she also visited her and learned the whole story. Knowing that Naruto protected Seiko, she still had a good impression. But this contact scene made Azuki Yugao worried. The Uchiha clan may use the 9 tails in Naruto's body. So next, I still have to persuade Naruto to stay away from them. "Sister Izumi, I won't disturb you on patrol, goodbye." A few simple words of conversation completed the first formal meeting. Naruto waved his hand and turned to say goodbye to Uchiha Izumi. I didn't expect that this kid actually saved Seiko. Quan stared at Naruto's back, waved his hands, and murmured. The legendary demon Foxboy is not the same as people describe. My father died at the hands of the 9 tails. But the gentle Quan did not hate Naruto. We are all companions in the same village, so Uzumaki Naruto is also one of us. He is not a demon fox. The tribe member next to Quan said lightly. Quan, anyway, you will know later. Uzumaki Naruto's identity is the son of the 4th generation. According to the theory of bloodline, Uchiha is the most respected tribe. So sooner or later, Uzumaki Naruto will shine. Swish. The figure of Azuki Yugao appeared beside Naruto. Naruto. Standing in front of Naruto, Yugao was also heroic today. The uniform of the Anbu outlines the exquisite figure, which makes Naruto linger. Unfortunately, I just fed her some milk the first 2 times, and I couldn't do too much. So I used some tricks on Hinata Shaw. Sister Shiyan, what's the matter? Naruto put on a harmless expression. With this look, he can easily get the favor of almost everyone, and Shiyan in front of him is no exception. And now that he has saved Seiko, blown up many mist ninjas, and even punished the 7 ninja swordsmen, Biwa Juzo, Naruto's position has become more and more incredible in Shiyan's eyes. She feels that Naruto exudes infinite light and heat, just like a sun, and she needs to look up. Even the 7 ninja swordsmen have been dealt with. I'm afraid that in a few years, Naruto will be able to reach the height of Kage. Thinking of Naruto's terrifying talent, Shiyan couldn't help but take a breath of wind escape. If the Yondaime couple knew Izumoshida, they would definitely be extremely happy. After all, their children's talents are likely to surpass their parents in the future. The position of the 5th or 6th generation Hokage seems to be waving towards Naruto. As a member of Anbu Team 6, he was also an Anbu team once commanded by Minato Namikaze. Shion felt that it was indeed an honor for her to work in this Anbu class. Maybe, I will become Naruto's subordinate in the future. As soon as this thought came to mind, Shion immediately shook her head. Naruto, you'd better not get too close to the Uchiha clan. Naruto immediately looked confused. Sister Zigao, I don't understand. Well, are you worried that someone in the Uchiha clan will be bad for me? This kid is as smart as a fool. He is always so smart when he should be smart. Shion thought, there are good people and bad people. It is like this in every place, country, village, ethnic group. There are bad people among the crowd. There are bad people in the Uchiha too. But, most of the people are good people, and most of the people in Uchiha are also good people. So, don't worry, Sister Shion, I will be careful. And, don't you protect me. By the way, Brother Hayate, are you okay? Quote. Naruto's words moved Shion greatly. The cheeks under the cat mask immediately turned red, because Shion felt very ashamed. After all, he really couldn't do much to help. Hayate is very good. Moonlight Hayate is still hospitalized. Because he was seriously injured, but it was not life-threatening and he just needed a good rest. Naruto had visited him before and became more familiar with Moonlight Hayate. Shiyan was moved by Naruto's kind and righteous character, so she nodded, well, as long as you are happy. As Naruto said, there may be bad people in Uchiha, but most of them are good people, right? From now on, I must fulfill my duty to protect Naruto even better. Shiyan secretly made up her mind. And little did she know, soon, that opportunity would come. Because there was a technique, Naruto wanted to test it out, but couldn't find a suitable candidate. Although the Hyuga family's maid will come regularly to help clean the house, she can do whatever she wants. But if you suffer too much damage, it will still be noticed by the Hyuga clan, which will be difficult to handle. So, the best experimental subject is naturally Shiyan. Most of the time, she follows her around, and a small amount of time is for personal activities. She is almost completely alone, so isn't she the best person to help her? Helping yourself complete the magic practice and making yourself stronger can be regarded as protecting yourself in disguise. Naruto's lips widened and the smile on his face grew brighter. It's getting dark again. Kyuubi tried hard to see the surroundings clearly, but this time, the visibility was even lower. After experiencing the Konoha Back Mountain incident, Naruto discovered his shortcomings. It is impossible for one person to be 360 degrees without blind spots and be all round. If it weren't for the help of Sako's Sharingan, it would really not be easy to severely damage Juzo with one blow. So, I really need help at all times. And if there are no helpers, create some helpers yourself. Shiyan is his first helper, or his subordinate. Judging from the strength performance of her and Hayate, they are probably the special Junin, whose strength fluctuates greatly. After all, teleportation and swordsmanship can work wonders against some opponents. But if Hayate were to face a knife expert like Loquat Juzu, he would stop immediately. What I mean is, you can use magic to strengthen Uoyuki Shion, making her stronger and more suitable for your own intentions. Sister Shion, let's go visit Brother Gale tonight. Naruto scratched his head and his bright smile turned into shyness. Okay, Shion couldn't help but smile. She thought to herself, what a kind child. When Shion walked away, Naruto noticed the graceful way she walked. Wearing an Anbu uniform, coupled with his exquisite figure, and arms as white as a porcelain doll, the companion-tailed beast in Naruto began to move. When fighting against Juzo, the negative impact of liberating the third tail should indeed be released. That method is yang release, using the magic type on her person. The residents of the Uchiha clan. My father on the battlefield will be home soon. My brother went out on a mission this morning. Seiko hummed and was packing the snacks on the table. Zaozi, do you want to send it to that child? Makoto asked as she watched her daughter busy early in the morning. Yeah, I want to give it to Uzumaki Naruto, he must have never eaten such delicious snacks in his life. Seiko nodded happily. The snacks were made by her mother. Naruto has been without parents since he was a child, so she should make up for some things for him. In the past few days since she was discharged from the hospital, Seiko has been reflecting more and more. She sorted out her performance in the Back Mountain incident and found that it was not even 1/3 of Naruto's, oh no, 1/4. How can I repair it? I am an elite of the Uchiha clan. Mom, how can I become stronger? Seiko asked this question. Seiko, you are already very strong. Makoto squatted down and looked at her daughter with outstanding talent. Your brother also opened his eyes a few months ago, and you have done the same thing at your age. Makoto was extremely happy about her daughter's talent. Especially hearing her interaction with Naruto, Makoto thought of something. Only a daughter with such talent can be worthy of the child of the fourth Hokage. If Kushina in the spring knew, she would definitely be satisfied. Then Mom, you have to teach me the Great Fireball technique. Seiko said this subconsciously. As an Uchiha, how can you not know the Great Fireball technique? You don't know it. Makoto was surprised. Didn't her daughter teach Naruto the sea-level ninjutsu, wind style, great breakthrough? Based on her daughter's knowledge, the Great Fireball technique should be. Oh, I said it wrong, Mom, I mean. Seiko also suddenly found that she knew the practice method of the Great Fireball technique in her mind. Every morning before waking up, a bunch of new knowledge would pop up in her head. The wind style, great breakthrough technique also popped up in her head. For this inexplicable thing, Seiko couldn't figure out why. In fact, it's not just the Great Fireball technique. She found that Dragon Fire technique, Phoenix Fire technique, she also knew the specific practice methods of all of them. Mom, I'm leaving first. Seiko picked up the snack box and ran out the door. By the way, Mom, keep it a secret for me, don't tell my brother that I went to Naruto's house. Sako's voice came from the yard. Got it. Makoto stood up and looked at her daughter's back as she left, and couldn't help but smile. Naruto's house. After Seiko came over, she happened to see Naruto who had finished his morning exercise. Here, Seiko handed over the snack box. Naruto took it and took a look. This is made by my mom. Seiko pinched her waist and said. You should feel honored, you guy. And, thank you. Seiko thanked Naruto shyly, because she was indeed saved by the yellow-haired man in front of her. Even if he looked stupid, he was very reliable at critical moments. Naruto looked away from the box and looked at Seiko. What did you just say? I didn't hear clearly. Nothing. The arrogant Seiko blushed and shouted loudly. Then she turned and ran away. Uchiha, the thinnest-skinned one, could not express his true emotions well. You haven't asked her name yet, Kyuubi said as he watched this scene. No need. Naruto held the box and looked at Sako's back as he quickly left. That's good. Take your time, don't rush, just wait for Zuozi to fall by himself step by step. Click. Naruto returned to the house and closed the door. When Zuozi returned to the station, he did not go home directly, but came to the nearby riverside. There is a small wooden bridge here, which is most suitable for practicing fire escape. My brother used to come here all the time, but later Shisui-san ran away and went to practice somewhere else. Zuozi stood on the wooden bridge and felt his brother's mood. Then, she took a deep breath and formed the seal, fire escape. The speed of forming the seals is not too fast, after all, it is the first time to practice. The art of grand fireball. According to the normal flow of chakra, Seiko gathered the power in his body in one breath. Then, convert chakra into the nature of fire and spit it out. Boom! Earth-shattering explosions emerged. Orange fireballs blew across the river, dyeing the entire river one color. Seeing the terrifying power he had created, Zuozi was stunned for a moment. Because even she didn't expect that she was so powerful. At this time, Zuozi didn't notice the tall figure standing behind her. Uchiha Fugaku, who came back from the battlefield, could be said to have returned home with great honor. With an absolute victory, he defeated Kumogakure, which made the reputation of the Uchiha clan rise higher than ever before. Maybe, the Uchiha clan's revolutionary plan can be changed a little. There is no need to resort to extreme physical capture. It is also possible to directly use force, to force the Sandaime to step down politically. That boy Shisui must have awakened a higher level of Sharingan. Coupled with the Mangekyo Sharingan that I have always hidden. 2 pairs of kaleidoscopes were enough to put tremendous pressure on Konoha's top brass. Fugaku, who returned to the village, heard from his subordinates what happened in the mountains behind Konoha. He was very surprised by what happened to his daughter. He was slightly relieved when he heard that Naruto was not tricked by his daughter. He was shocked again when he learned that Naruto defeated Loquat Juzo. The Yondaime child showed extraordinary strength at a young age. Such talents are indeed worth getting along with and wooing. After leaving the police station and rushing home, Fugaku saw the sneaky daughter of the dog on the road, and he followed her all the way, feeling dissatisfied. Finally, I discovered the scene in front of me. As expected of my daughter. Dad. Zuozi turned around and saw his father with a shocked expression on his face. Obviously, his father was extremely relieved by the results he had achieved. Seiko, who was recognized for the first time, immediately showed an excited smile on his face. But what her father said next extinguished her enthusiasm again. In this way, you will be worthy of a good family when you grow up. A son worthy of the Yondaime. Fugaku imagined in his mind that he could force the Sandaime to step down and become Hokage himself. Then he betrothed his daughter to the son of the 4th generation, winning over the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, thus taking control of Konoha in one fell swoop. That kind of future is the future that Uchiha should have. That night, Naruto took the souvenirs and went to Konoha Hospital with Azuki Yugao to visit Moonlight Hayate. Moonlight Hayate was lying on the hospital bed. Because he was an official ninja and had been on the front line for a long time, performing various dangerous tasks, he naturally had full welfare benefits. Different from ordinary hardworking grassroots ninjas. As a core member and trusted by the top management of Konoha, at least he didn't have to worry about medical treatment at all. He only needed to rest and recover from his injuries. Being placed in the backyard area of the hospital, under the most suitable environment, Moonlight Blast had a pretty good time in the hospital. Brother Hayate, you must recover soon. Naruto gave a souvenir, which was the snack Seiko brought. Made by Aunt Macon, ordinary people can't enjoy it. The reason why he brought such an expensive gift was naturally because he wanted to borrow it from his lover, his childhood sweetheart, Uoyuki Shion. Ahem, don't worry, I can live for at least 10 more years. Moonlight Hayate smiled slightly, looking very happy. Looking at his sickly appearance and the dark circles under his eyes, you can tell how serious the side effects of transparent escape are. Naruto thought, if he mastered the correct way to use the yang release technique on others. The mother who treated Hinata, as well as Moonlight Hayate, both had their features. For the sake of everyone's lives, Shion, you have to make a contribution. Only Kyuubi could feel the darkness caused by the evil thoughts in Naruto's heart. Azuki Yugao and Gecko Hayate, who had no idea about this, only thought that Naruto was a kind and good boy. Some pleasantries. Shiyan reluctantly left. Haifeng, you should have a good rest next. Moonlight Hayate. Well, no problem, everyone in the hospital will take good care of me. Before closing the door, what Shiyan saw was her lover's smiling face. It was already 8:30 p.m. when we left the hospital. It was dark. Naruto would go home next, and Azuki Yugao would guard in secret. It sounded like there was no place to stay, but in fact, the Konoha high-level officials had arranged a room for Yugao opposite Naruto's house. As long as she opened her eyes, she could see the situation at Naruto's house. And Naruto didn't have the habit of closing the curtains, so he could see everything clearly. Just when Yugao thought that tonight was no different from other times, Naruto invited her. Sister Yugao, I actually encountered difficulties on my path of practice, can you give me some advice? Naruto scratched his head, looking embarrassed. No problem. The neat answer surprised even Yugao herself. Because she was finally able to help Naruto, she felt a little relieved that she had long felt that she could not fulfill her duty of protection. That's really too easy to mess with. Under Naruto's smile, there was a dark malice. Naruto's house. Turning on the light, the room suddenly lit up. Shiyan looked around the room and found it was much tidier than the last time she came. Was it done by Hyuga Shaw? During the ninja school, Shiyan and Hyuga Shaw were barely classmates, but they were just nodding acquaintances. After graduation, they didn't have much interaction. Shiyan's sister, please have some tea. Naruto walked out of the kitchen and poured a cup of tea for Shiyan. Thank you. Shiyan took off the mask and placed it on the side of her head. The delicate cheeks that looked like a porcelain doll were revealed. After sitting on the chair, Naruto, who was facing her, raised the obstacles on the road of training. Sister Shiyan, I have encountered some problems with the Yongdun I have been practicing recently. Yongdun. Shiyan couldn't help but recall what she saw in the orphanage. The powerful Yang attribute chakra that Naruto burst out made her remember it vividly. However, I am not an expert in Yongdun. This should actually be asked to Miss Nono. Actually, I am trying to combine Yongdun with Nine Tails chakra. Naruto described the specific direction of practice. This made Shiyan realize that Miss Nono could not help. Since the establishment of Konoha village, the sealing strategy of the tailed beasts has resulted in no experience being passed down. To use the Nine Tails, Naruto is the real first generation. He can achieve today's results, control 3 tails and maintain himself, which is already quite amazing. Naruto, on his side, looked at all the reactions of Azuki Shiyan. Yongdun is a specialized type of escape technique for the human body. Naruto has tried it on himself and there is no problem. Nine-tailed chakra can be considered a powerful status buff, which can enhance the performance of Jinchuriki in all aspects. However, if Yang escape is combined with this buff, it would be an unprecedented brain hole. The problem here is, Yang escape can not only be used on oneself, but also on others. Such as regenerating eyeballs for Kakashi and igniting the fire of life for Akai. Conventionally, it is ordinary medical ninjutsu, etc. When Yongdun merges into the Nine Tails chakra, how much negative effects will it have on others? The previous few times, it has been proved that Uezuki Shiin is not a suitable carrier of Nine Tails chakra. If the skin is infiltrated with the Nine Tails chakra, it will heal slowly. If it reaches the brain, it will cause confusion and even temporary amnesia. In this case, what will she become if another Yang escape is added? Naruto was looking forward to what would happen next. So, Sister Shiin, can you help me test it a little bit? Naruto made a trap in his words. He didn't tell Shiin directly and let her become a guinea pig. Instead, conduct experiments in the form of a showdown. Okay, Shiyan put down her teacup and agreed immediately. She told herself, it would be okay. Even if Naruto defeats Loquat Juzo, he is not an enemy, and he will definitely not hit hard. Shiin, who was quite a bit pushy, stood up and prepared to accept Naruto's experimental challenge in order to thank Naruto for saving her lover Gekko Hayate and to make herself look useful. Then Sister Shiin, I'm going to start. Naruto also got down from the chair and took a stance. Kid, are you sure you want to do this? Kyuubi promptly reminded him that even it didn't know what would happen if he did so. Especially when its power, fused with Naruto's Yang release, was applied to the human female in front of him who was not suitable to be the tailed beast's chakra carrier. No problem. Naruto nodded secretly. Even if there is a problem, today I am sure to win against Mao Yuxian. She can't run. Boom. Scarlet chakra began to condense on Naruto's palm, which was the power of the 9 tails. Then, Naruto added yang release to it, and the scarlet power became dark and a little purple. At first glance, it looks like Menma's power in the theatrical version. This dark power is the new product that Naruto has worked on in the past few days after the Haoshin incident. For Naruto himself, it was a new power Pava developed. And for the female ninjas who started with Uatsuki Yugao, what does it mean? This is. Shiyan opened her eyes wide and looked at the black chakra on Naruto's palm, and suddenly had an ominous premonition. The next moment, Naruto ran towards her. Bang! Shiyan raised her arms to resist, but for just a moment, she felt that the place where she was touched lost consciousness. This is still blocked by the metal wristband on the arm. Then, Naruto jumped up, his small palm enlarged in front of Shiyan's eyes, and pressed it directly on her face. To capture a thief, capture the king first. Of course, you must also attack someone first. Azuki Shiyan, whose face was bruised by Naruto's palm, was about to react physically subconsciously. However, this dark and rich chakra directly infiltrated her cheeks, causing her to lose consciousness and control of her facial muscles. And this is just the beginning. At an unimaginable speed, the dark chakra seeped into her bones, and then into her brain. For a substance like chakra, human bones are no obstacle at all. Woo! In the end, Mao Yuxian only let out a low groan and fell straight back. Plop! She fell to the wooden floor. Fortunately, she is a ninja who has reached the level of special Junin, so this throw is no different from scratching an itch. What kept her from getting up was the chakra affecting her brain. Ah bing na ah! Only a series of inexplicable low moans were heard from Mao Yuxian. The pair of gentle eyes no longer existed, but began to glance around uncontrollably. Naruto, who had already landed lightly, had a vague arc at the corner of his mouth. With an innocent to cruel expression, he stared at the Anbu girl who fell to the ground. Last time, all he used on her was Kyuubi chakra. The negative emotions mixed with the erosion caused by this energy made Shion confused and suffered temporary amnesia. And this time, Naruto expected a stronger impact. Of course, Naruto thought he had enough understanding of this new power before using it on Uezuki Shion. 9-tailed chakra can be compared to a dragonfly plucking water or a goose plucking its hair. The impact on the human body is analogous to mental damage. Yang escape chakra is to put ink into the human body. It is very likely that permanent physical damage will occur, not just a minor superficial injury. When the two are combined, the negative effects will definitely change some of the characteristics of Mao Yuxian. Physically yes, mentally too. Double buff, compound attack, this is a product that Naruto is satisfied with. And looking at the beautiful female body twisting helplessly on the ground is really a pleasing sight. Oh, it's bad. Sister Shiyan, are you okay? Naruto switched to a good guy look in a second, then walked to the window and pulled the curtains with a swish. The room was immediately sealed. Then, Naruto turned off the light again. The light suddenly dimmed. A pinpoint-like red light lit up in the darkness. Naruto, who had no vision, had switched to upright pupils. With the help of the faint light outside and the glimmer of light through the curtains, for Naruto, the living room was as bright as daytime. Slowly turned around and walked towards Mao Yuxian. Naruto looked at Shiyan who seemed to be poisoned. In fact, to some extent, she was indeed poisoned. So, what should be done next? Naturally, it is to remove the toxin for Shiyan. I remember that if you are poisoned, you can drink more milk. The experience of the previous 2 treatments gave Naruto a wealth of experience. This time, Naruto still decided to feed Shiyan milk first. So, soon, Naruto walked over, slowly, bent down, and looked at Shiyan from a close distance. The Anbu girl with the mask on the side of her head was slightly younger than Kakashi. Her exquisite figure became more stylish because of the tight Anbu uniform. Her white face and arms like a porcelain doll made her look like an exquisite doll. Her naturally rosy mouth embellished her with a thrilling beauty and temptation. As the rustling sound rang out, the hideous and terrifying companion-tailed beast also woke up because of the scene in front of him. It trembled, quickly became active, and helped Naruto get milk. When the monster that fully displayed its own form showed its complete form, Naruto was ready to feed Shiyan milk. Milk can neutralize toxins. After pointing the milk bottle at Shiyan's cherry mouth. Sizzle. Oh oh. Naruto immediately sighed with satisfaction. Because as long as she is fed with milk, Sister Shiyan will definitely get better. Shiyan. Woo sis. Naruto. Sister Shiyan. Sister Shiyan. The distant demon country. The daimyo who came in a sedan chair couldn't help but yawn. The sudden visit at night was naturally to give his wife a surprise. It was also to catch the other party off guard. The gorgeous sedan chair was quickly put down. The daimyo on the mountain looked around. The night guards still dutifully protected the palace. The shrine maiden's hall was also brightly lit. HMPH. The young daimyo of the demon country smiled lightly and began to walk towards the hall. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.